Chapter 4493. Qin Xian'er was also stunned. She saw a figure standing there like a god of war. So young and so powerful. That was her first thought. When she felt the Nine Suns' divine fire, she was even more stunned. Lin Xian, it's him. Qin Xian'er's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. She couldn't imagine meeting Lin Xian here. Are you all right? Lin Xian turned around and looked at Qin Xian'er with concern. At the same time, he took out some elixirs. Qin Xian'er shook her head. I was injured. If you hadn't come, I would have died. I didn't expect to see you here. That's great. How are you now? Qin Xian'er had a lot of questions. Lin Xian also had a lot of questions. So you know each other. Alright, the two of you can meet in hell. Hai Sha walked over and stared coldly at Lin Xian. He was really mad. Qin Xian'er's expression was solemn. Lin Xian, be careful. This guy is very strong. I can't defeat him even with 2 sage weapons. Lin Xian looked at Hai Sha with a smile on his face. Don't worry. After I kill him, I'll treat you to seafood. Lin Xian wanted to kill him and eat him. Sea Shark was enraged. White smoke rose from his body. But very quickly, the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Ignorant ant, you want to kill me with just you? You're courting death. The two of you have completely angered me. When I catch the two of you later, I'll torture you. Cut the crap. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly. Hai Sha was so angry that he laughed. It seems that the two of you are from the Grotto Heaven. Green Hill Grotto Heaven. Let me tell you, I'm from Ethereal Peak. If you dare to fight with me, I can kill the two of you with a wave of my hand. Kneel down now and kowtow to me. Hai Sha's eyes were filled with arrogance. Qin Xian'er's eyes narrowed. Ethereal Peak. No wonder he was so strong. No wonder the 2 sage weapons couldn't defeat him. It turned out that they were from the Misty Peak. During this period of time, even though she had suffered some hardships in the paradise, she had gained some understanding of the situation. In this region, the 6 great grotto heavens were powerful enough to suppress everything. However, above the paradise, there was an unparalleled overlord, and that was the Ethereal Peak. Even their elders had to be extremely respectful to the disciples of the Misty Peak. The Hai Sha in front of him was also from the Ethereal Peak. Seeing Qin Xian'er's surprised expression, Hai Sha was very pleased. How is it? Are you scared? As long as you submit, I can spare your life. Qin Xian'er's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. Lin Xian smiled. I was wondering who it was. So it was the Misty Peak. The identity of Ethereal Peak is not enough to scare me. If you don't have any other skills, you can go die. Brat, you dare to attack me? Hai Sha was stunned. He didn't dare to believe it. The people of the paradise dared to go against the Misty Peak. Qin Xian'er also said, Lin Xian, be careful. The people from Misty Peak are too strong. Don't fight them head on. Let's leave first. Lin Xian. Hai Sha frowned. Then, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Could it be that you are the Lin Xian who defeated Xingqian? I say, how dare you go against the Misty Peak? So it's you. The other party knew Lin Xian. Qin Xian'er was also stunned. Although she had entered the paradise, she didn't have the chance to come out. In fact, she didn't even know about the big things that happened outside. This was the first time she had come out after much difficulty, so she wasn't very clear about what had happened to Lin Xian. Now that she saw that Hai Sha actually knew Lin Xian, she was very surprised. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. Since you know that I defeated Xingqian, why don't you kneel on the ground obediently and kowtow and admit your mistake? Humph, brat, you are really arrogant. However, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can ignore everything just because you defeated Xingqian. Although Xingqian had some status in the Misty Peak, what about his strength? He was just ordinary. He was just a newbie who had just entered the Misty Peak. My strength isn't something that he can compare to. Therefore, you don't have the right to be arrogant in front of me. I will catch you, cripple you, and then bring you back to the Misty Peak. When I hand you over to the Star Tribe, they might even thank me for it. Boom! A terrifying aura surged out from Hai Sha's body and swept across the entire sea. Endless blade light rushed out from the sea and slashed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body swayed and dodged quickly. At the same time, he said to Qin Xianer, "Go somewhere far away and protect yourself. Leave this guy to me." "Okay, be careful." Qin Xianer gritted her teeth and retreated quickly with the two sage ruler weapons. At the same time, the 10 ultimate sword formation was activated in front of the sea and blocked the blade light. Lin Xian roared. His fist was like the sun as it rushed out and evaporated the endless sea. He charged towards Hai Sha. Hai Sha was disdainful at first, but when he felt the terrifying fist, his eyes turned cold. That terrifying power shocked him greatly. The boundless water in the sky condensed to form a shield of the sea, blocking in front of him. In the next moment, the terrifying sun fist landed on the ocean shield and let out an earth-shattering sound. Thousands of thunderous sounds fell. The ocean shield only lasted for a moment before it was covered with cracks. Then, it suddenly cracked open. That power! Hai Sha was stunned. He was pushed back by the power. Boundless saber light surrounded him, and only then was he able to block the fist. His face had become extremely cold. His opponent's cultivation was only a sage ruler, but that power was enough to threaten him. Thinking of the boast he had made before and the sorry state he was in now, he couldn't bear it. He snorted and spat out a blue long blade and held it in his hand. The blade light flashed and slashed downwards. Clang! Lin Xian didn't dodge and caught the blade with his bare hands. Endless flames burst out. As for Lin Xian, he was holding onto his saber. Then, his other hand formed the human ruler's seal and slammed forward. Boom! The long blade was caught and Hai Sha couldn't dodge, so he used the human ruler seal again. Hai Sha was sent flying, and endless cracks appeared on his body. Boom! 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 Like a kite with a broken string, Hai Sha fell into the sea and tore a crack in the sea. It formed a canyon. Qin Xianer was stunned. Had Lin Xian become so strong? She had used all her strength but couldn't block it. But now, Lin Xian had suppressed his opponent and even sent him flying. Had this guy become so strong? Had he reached the middle stage of the Sage Ruler realm? Qin Xianer looked carefully and realized that Lin Xian was only a Sage Ruler. She couldn't believe it. She had already become a half-step Sage Ruler and was only one step away from becoming a true Sage Ruler. She didn't expect that Lin Xian's strength would far surpass hers even though his cultivation was behind hers. Chapter 4494. At the bottom of the sea. Hai Sha's body stopped, and his face became extremely ugly. Damn it! How could Lin Fan be so powerful? Lin Fan actually suppressed him. He couldn't believe that Lin Fan was just a sacred venerable. Damn it! He roared and rushed out. Lin Xian looked down and sneered. Lin Xian thought, "You're just a so-so. How dare you be so arrogant? Is ethereal peak trash? Humph. don't be so arrogant. I'll show you the ultimate technique of ethereal peak. Terrifying laws appeared on Hai Sha's body. He formed a seal with his palms and formed a strange rune. More and more runes appeared. Finally, it formed a picture scroll. Heavenly River Picture. With a roar, endless water flew into the Heavenly River Picture. That shocking power made Qin Sienna tremble and almost fall from the sky. This power is too terrifying. Can Lin Xian withstand it? Looking at the immeasurable water in the sky, Lin Xian's eyes also emitted a cold aura. 9 suns, mountain-embracing seal. A primordial demon mountain appeared and suppressed the world. On the demon mountain, endless flames burned. Lin Xian pushed his palm and the flaming primordial demon mountain charged towards the Heavenly River Picture in the sky. Boom! When the two collided, monstrous power and flames swept out. The Heavenly River Picture was instantly shrouded and shattered. It couldn't withstand it at all. Damn it! So powerful. Seeing the Heavenly River Picture shattered, Hai Sha's face turned ugly. He took out the blue saber again and attacked wildly. Heavenly River Saber Technique. The saber light was very sharp and contained shocking power. It was murderous. It was enough to kill anyone below the middle stage Sage King realm. But it was a pity that he met Lin Xian. Lin Xian's sword chi turned into a huge dragon and roared. It broke free from the saber light and sent Hai Sha flying. The people of Ethereal Peak are indeed trash. A cold smile appeared on Lin Xian's face. How is that possible? Hai Sha spat out blood again and his body shattered. He roared in horror. Who are you? The golden flames are like the sun. Could it be the legendary 9 Suns' divine body? What's that dragon roar? Are you a dragon? He was really too shocked. Lin Xian was shocked. You can recognize the 9 Yang divine body. He was quite knowledgeable. It really was the 9 Yang divine body. Hai Sha was horrified. It was no wonder that he had been defeated. This was the starry skies, and his physique was extremely powerful. He turned around to flee. Lin Xian's huge hand came down like the 10,000 dragons picture, covering heaven and earth. Since you have seen through my divine body, do you still want to escape? Go to hell. No, you can't kill me. I am from the Misty Peak. If you kill me, it will be very troublesome. Let me go, and I promise I won't tell your secret. I don't believe in you. I only believe in people who go to hell. As for killing you, is it that troublesome? I've killed more than one expert of Ethereal Peak. I'm not afraid of you. Lin Xian waved his hand and a monstrous sword light blossomed, completely enveloping his opponent. Boom! 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 Like 1,000 dragons emerging from the sea, the other party turned into a blood mist and his soul did not escape. Lin Xian put away the storage ring and sealed the other party's saber before throwing it into the Great Sage Pagoda. Behind, Qin Sienna was stunned. The changes in the battle made her unable to react at all. When she came back to her senses, she realized that Hai Sha was already dead. Her face turned pale. Why did you kill him? He was from the Misty Peak. So what if he was from the Misty Peak? Lin Xian looked at the other party and laughed. Since he wanted to kill us, isn't it normal for me to kill him? Besides, he wasn't the first Misty Peak expert to die in my hands. He should be the 5th one. Qin Sienna went crazy. In her knowledge, the Misty Peak was a supreme existence. The people of the Grotto Heaven would definitely not dare to touch the existence of the Misty Peak. But at this moment, Lin Xian did not have any scruples at all. What was the identity of this guy? Why, was he scared silly? Don't worry, the Misty Peak will not know about this. Oh right, tell me about your situation. Qin Xian'er came back to her senses and said. There were treasures ahead. Lin Xian was surprised and followed Qin Xian'er. The two of them flew into the sea. Along the way, Qin Xian'er told him about her situation. Back then, the Hehuan sect was suppressed as well. Everyone else was turned into puppets. She did not become a puppet because she had the bloodline of the Qingqiu tribe. They returned to the Qingqiu grotto heaven. However, her status in the grotto heaven was not high. Back then, she was in despair because her master, the Closed Moon Sage King, had died in order to protect her. After Qin Xian'er came to the grotto heaven, she went into seclusion. Now that she had just come out, she did not know about the situation of the others. Lin Xian nodded and told him about his own situation as well. When Qin Xian'er heard about Lin Xian's situation, she was even more shocked. Tai Chu. Qi. This guy turned from a battle servant to the prince consort of the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven and even a disciple of the Xiantian Pavilion. It was just like a legend. By the way, what are you Grotto Heavens looking for here? Lin Xian asked. Qin Xian'er said that she did not know. She only knew that an ancient treasure was about to appear in this sea area. So, when we received the news, we set out with the elders. We set up an array formation here. I saw that the time was not right, so I prepared to come out to look for some opportunities. I found that there was a 10,000-year-old dragon marrow at the bottom of the sea. Quite a few people noticed this as well. Even the sea shark at the back had come. He defeated everyone and even wanted to kill me. Next, it's up to you to save me. Lin Xian finally understood. 10,000-year-old dragon marrow. Good stuff. The two of them sped up. Soon, they entered the sea and found that there was a broken cave abode at the bottom of the sea. The cave abode was dilapidated and ancient. There was an array formation, but it was also broken. The two of them walked in easily. After entering, Lin Xian felt a strange energy surging into his body. It made him feel refreshed. There was also a dragon's roar in his body. Lin Xian was surprised and looked forward. There were dragon shadows on the wall of the cave. They were as big as a finger, like small dragons hanging there. This should be the dragon marrow. Looking at the power it contained, it was definitely 10,000-year-old dragon marrow. Lin Xian found that about 1/3 of the 10,000-year-old dragon marrow had been taken away. He was stunned and then quickly checked Hai Sha's storage ring. Sure enough, he found the 1/3 of the dragon marrow in the storage ring. It turned out that this guy had taken it away. But fortunately, the storage ring was already his. There were 12 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow left. Each drop of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow was more precious than tens of thousands of other drops. Qin Xian'er said, "How about we split it equally? If you feel that you're at a disadvantage, then I'll repay you with my body." "Okay, I accept your request. When you're free, you can give yourself to me as a gift." Lin Xian smiled. Qin Xian'er also smiled. She rolled her eyes at Lin Xian and then began to collect the dragon marrow. Chapter 4495. She carefully stored every drop in a jade bottle. Then, she said, "This is great. When I go back, I can absorb it for a long time with other heavenly treasures." She was really overjoyed. On the other side, Lin Xian grabbed 6 drops of 10,000-year-old dragon marrow and directly absorbed them into his body. He gave it to the dragon sword soul. Qin Xian'er was stunned. "You're absorbing it directly. Can you handle this power?" Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, I can handle it. If you can't handle it, you can give yourself to me." Qin Xian'er sighed. It's a pity that you have so many peerless fairies around you. Now that you're the prince consort of the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven, you shouldn't be interested in me, right? Lin Xian said, don't be discouraged. I know people from Demon Emperor Mountain. I'll introduce you to them one day. With your talent, you'll definitely improve by leaps and bounds. How dare you make fun of me? Qin Xianer gritted her teeth. She wanted to pounce on him and bite him. Suddenly, she said, oh right, you promised me to eat seafood. Why did you beat that guy into a bloody mist? Lin Xian laughed. What's so good about that guy? I'll find you some shrimp soldiers and crab generals. The two of them left the cave abode. Lin Xian really caught a few shrimp soldiers and crab generals and made a pot of delicious food. Ethereal Peak. At this moment, the atmosphere was solemn. During this period of time, 3 of the Ethereal Peak disciples' soul jade tablets had been shattered. This meant that these 3 people had died outside. This was simply unbelievable. It was something that rarely happened in 1,000 years. What was the status of Ethereal Peak? They were above the grotto heavens and could do whatever they wanted in this area. No one dared to provoke them. Unless they went to other areas, there was a chance of them dying. Otherwise, they wouldn't have died at all. But now, within a few days, 3 of them had fallen. Furthermore, all 3 of them were Saint Kings. This was unbearable. Damn it, what's going on? Who did it? Finally, an elder walked out and roared crazily. The others didn't dare to speak. Finally, someone said that these 3 people had accepted the same mission to kill Lin Xian. Who is Lin Xian? The elder asked. Not long after, he heard the news about Lin Xian. His face instantly turned cold. You're saying that the 3 of them died in the hands of a saint? Do you believe it? The others also looked at each other. To be honest, they didn't believe it either. Is a Saint King really that powerful? To be able to kill so many Sage Kings. Although Lin Xian had defeated Stardust, defeating a Sage King and killing a Sage King were 2 different concepts. If a Holy Venerate wanted to go all out, a Holy Venerate would not be able to dodge. The worst case scenario, Saint King Sage Saint Kings. Lin the elder said that this kid was not simple and that there might be someone behind him. Lin's a saint and find out his saint. Soon, a few figures left Ethereal Peak and headed to Thousand Mountain Cave. Ethereal Peak was very powerful. Moreover, these elders had their own families. The Star Tribe was one of the most powerful families in Ethereal Peak. At this moment, an elder of the Star Tribe was sitting cross-legged in the sky, cultivating. He was an extremely terrifying elder of the Star Tribe. His cultivation had reached the late stage of a Saint King. The starlight in the sky surrounded him, forming a mysterious starry sky map. At this moment, the elder suddenly opened his eyes. The starry sky map around him flickered non-stop. Heaven and earth cracked. A terrifying murderous intent swept across the area. With a wave of his hand, a soul jade token flew out from his storage ring. At this moment, it was shattered and dim. This meant that the other party's soul had been destroyed. The elder of the Star Tribe was filled with killing intent. Has he died? This person was the one they had sent to kill Lin Xian. He was a Saint King Qi. But now, he had died too. It's definitely not that kid's doing. No matter how strong a Saint King is, he can't kill a Saint King. Who's behind this kid? Men, come and check. How dare he do this to Ethereal Peak? I'll make him regret coming to this world. His palms kept forming seals, quickly forming an astrolabe. The astrolabe shone brightly. Endless illusions emerged from it and finally stopped at the sea. Boundless sea. The elder of the star tribe frowned slightly. That guy actually went to the boundless sea. At that moment, another roar echoed through the 9 heavens. The people of Ethereal Peak were all stunned. My heavens, what's going on? The usually quiet Ethereal Peak is having a series of incidents now. The elder of the star tribe frowned slightly. He was originally in a bad mood, so he flew out instantly. Demon whale, what are you shouting for? The elder of the star tribe frowned. Below, there was a very tall man. His skin was black and there were terrifying demonic patterns on his face. His original form was a terrifying whale. At the same time, he was also a sea demon. He said that my disciple has died. He actually died in the boundless sea. Damn it, who dares to attack Ethereal Peak? Is it the boundless sea again? The elder of the star tribe also frowned. He said that a member of the star tribe also died in the boundless sea. There's such a thing. The demon whale was also stunned. Then, he said, doesn't your star tribe have the great divination astrolabe? Hurry up and use it. Alright, follow me. The elder of the star tribe nodded. I want to see who dares to attack my star tribe. The two of them turned into streams of light and disappeared from the mountain peak. They arrived at an extremely frightening palace hall. An astrolabe was floating up and down. There were stars in the sky, looking mysterious. The elder of the star tribe cast a spell and activated the great divination astrolabe. The wind and clouds in the boundless sea were changing. In the void, starlight fell and swept in all directions. A voice came from the starlight. His body and soul have been destroyed. Only some blood mist remains. What a ruthless method. Hurry up and take a look. Where did Hai Sha die? Another voice came. Then, the starlight disappeared and appeared in another part of the sea. Did he die here? Suddenly, the starlight fell and pierced through the sea, forming a huge crack. A broken cave abode appeared. There was a powerful aura left inside. It seemed that there were treasures. Obviously, Hai Sha was killed when he was fighting for the treasures. Don't worry, they won't be able to escape. The starlight in the sky flickered and spread quickly. On the other side, Lin Xian and Qin Xianer had already left the broken cave abode. They appeared in the sea. Let's go. Qin Xianer was ready to return. Lin Xian was also ready to leave this place. He wanted to find a safe place to study the map. What's going on? He had obtained a key from the map. But where did this key lead to? He still didn't understand. Chapter 4496. Little White also jumped out. His eyes twitched as he said, "Someone seems to be watching us." He didn't feel comfortable. Lin Xian also frowned. Indeed, he felt that there was a mysterious force looking for them. What should we do? Is it someone from Ethereal Peak? Qin Xianer's face turned pale. Why don't you follow me back to Greenhill Grotto Heaven and hide? Lin Yuan shook his head. If it was someone from Ethereal Peak, it would be useless to go to Greenhill Grotto Heaven. Oh no, let's go. Lin Xian instantly set up a formation. Then, with Qin Xianer, he used the void escape and disappeared. In the next moment, a ray of starlight appeared where they were standing and shrouded them. Then, a voice sounded. Is that the power of space? You can actually escape. You are quite capable. However, you can't escape. The void cracked open, and Lin Xian and Qin Xianer appeared. Qin Xianer asked, "What should we do?" "We can't defeat them." Lin Xian said, "The person who attacked us this time is very strong and we can't defeat him. However, it is also impossible for him to find me." After saying that, he stepped out of the array again. In the array, there was also a terrifying power of space. He was originally an array expert, and Xueqi also liked to study array formations. Therefore, there were many array formation materials in her residence. When Lin Xian had nothing to do, he would create a lot of array formations in case of emergencies. Now, he really had to use them. This was also spatial teleportation, and the distance was even further than void escape. After he disappeared, the ray of starlight appeared again. Damn it, you are using an array formation. I don't believe that I can't find you. In the starlight, an even colder voice sounded. Soon, he caught the aura of an array formation, and his face turned even colder. However, at this moment, an extremely terrifying thunder appeared in the sky, and a sword array formation appeared again. It directly slashed the ray of starlight. How could a mere thunder go against the great spread star plate? You are courting death. In the starlight, a cold laugh sounded. The thunder struck the starlight, and there was a deafening sound. The thunder was shattered, but the starlight was unharmed. However, the sword chi was abnormally cold, and it shattered the starlight. Angry roars came from the starlight. How is this possible? In a hall in Ethereal Peak, the star race elder's face was gloomy. His eyes were filled with disbelief. There was actually someone who could shatter the starlight of the stellar plate. What kind of weapon was that? Could it be that there was a supreme sword king contending against them? Limitless sea on an uninhabited island, two human figures appeared. There was also a small monkey. Lin Xian and the others. After coming out, Lin Xian activated his heavenly fortune god eyes and observed his surroundings. Qin Xianer asked. Have they caught up? After waiting for a while, Lin Xian shook his head. He probably wouldn't be able to catch up to them. He had already shattered their starlight. My guess is that they must have used some kind of special weapon to pursue us. At this point, he once again used the Great Dragon Sword Soul to completely erase the auras in the storage rings he had obtained. This way, they shouldn't be able to find us. Lin Xian set up a formation on the island again. It should be safe here for the time being. Let's cultivate first. Didn't you get the dragon marrow? Hurry up and use it. Otherwise, if the people from the Grotto Heaven find out, they might snatch it away. Qin Xianer nodded. She didn't have a high status in the Grotto Heaven, so she was going to cultivate here. Lin Xian was preparing to absorb the power in the storage rings he had obtained. It wasn't safe to keep these things. He might as well give them to the Dragon Sword Soul to increase its power. If the Dragon Sword Soul increased, his strength would also increase by leaps and bounds. The power of the Dragon Sword Soul continued to increase. Lin Xian felt that his strength was also increasing. At this moment, thunder condensed in the sky, and it seemed to be about to fall. Lin Xian frowned. He didn't break through. He was already at the peak of the Saint Venerable realm. If he broke through, he would be a half-step Saint King. However, he still couldn't feel the opportunity to break through. Yet, another thunder tribulation descended. Lin Xian frowned. He left the island and went to the depths of the sea to receive the impact of the thunder. This time, the thunder was blood-red. It was shocking. It seemed that it wasn't a heavenly tribulation, but a heavenly punishment. Damn it, he was abandoned by the heavens. He didn't expect that after coming to the buried Emperor Star, he would still receive the heavenly punishment. Moreover, it was even stronger than before. Lin Xian frowned. He entered the Sword Dao small world in his body to resist. However, if he wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, he had to find a place with a great emperor. Otherwise, the heavenly punishment would be even more terrifying. He couldn't resist it. It seemed that the matter was getting more and more urgent. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Fortunately, the mysterious small sword in his body was incomparably profound. It seemed to have formed a world of its own. Only then could he block the terrifying heavenly punishment. The red thunder filled the sky, emitting a destructive aura. The surrounding sea demons in the limitless sea all prostrated themselves. At this moment, a roar was heard. "Damn it, who disturbed my rest? Damn it, it's actually the heavenly punishment. Where did this terrifying person abandoned by the heavens come from?" A toad jumped out of the sea and kept roaring. When it saw the figure in front of it, it was instantly stunned. "Brat, it's you." There was an illusion of a sword Dao whirled around Lin Xian. When he felt that there was a force coming from behind him, he slapped out with a backhand. The toad cried out miserably and flew back into the sea. Then it roared. "Damn brat, you even hit your own people." However, Lin Xian couldn't hear anything. He was going all out to transcend the tribulation. The toad could only stay there angrily. After waiting for a long time, the red thunder in the sky slowly disappeared. Lin Xian put away the mysterious small sword and heaved a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, he had that thing. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous to resist the heavenly punishment. He turned around and revealed a look of surprise. "Ha, why are you here? Where's Ruffian Dragon?" The toad was furious. "Damn brat, you slapped me just now. How are you going to compensate me?" Lin Xian was stunned. "It was you just now. I thought someone attacked me. However, your skin is really thick. I can't kill you with one slap." The toad was furious. "I'll fight you for 300 rounds. It rushed forward, but it was slapped back by Lin Xian. "Damn brat, you're clearly a holy venerable. Why are you so strong? You can't compare to a peerless genius." Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The toad was so angry that it vomited. Chapter 4497. The toad said, "Don't mention it. I followed you to the buried Emperor Star and was then suppressed by someone. I got separated from that fellow. But when I left, that fellow said that he was going to look for some dragons. It seemed that he wanted to return. The dark red divine dragon went to look for dragons." Lin Xian was surprised. "Forget it, let's not bother with this fellow. The other party originally had the inheritance of dragons. In addition, his strength and talent were top-notch." Lin Xian was not worried about this fellow at all. At this moment, a terrifying aura came from the small island. A phantom appeared. He was surprised and turned his head to look. He saw the phantom of a nine-tailed fox roaring at the sky. 9 tails danced in the air. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sea swept over. After the toad saw it, it was surprised. The 9-tailed fox was that fairy. She was not simple. He saw Qin Xianer. Lin Xian was also surprised. It seemed that Qin Xianer had been underestimated. The Qingqiu bloodline in her body was absolutely terrifying. One must know that the sage king he had encountered in the Qingqiu clan only had 7 tails. But now, Qin Xianer actually displayed the 9-tailed fox. It was probably a top-notch bloodline talent. The toad said, "No, it's not just because of the bloodline. According to my observation, this fellow's origin is not ordinary. It's very likely that she's the reincarnation of someone." The 9-tailed clan was also an ancient clan. The strongest among them usually only appeared with 8 tails. 9 tails was really too rare. Not even one would appear in 10,000 years. There were 2 reasons why the 9-tailed phantom appeared. First, her bloodline was previously sealed. Second, she was a reincarnator. But no matter which one it was, her future achievements were limitless. When she grew up, she would not be weaker than your divine body. The toad sighed. It was rumored that there was a nine-tailed fox who stirred up heaven and earth and even dared to compete with the great emperor. In the end, she was suppressed by the great emperor. But even so, you can imagine what kind of existence she was, right? So powerful. Lin Xian was surprised. It seemed that he had underestimated the true nine-tailed fox. The toad said, "You might not be able to imagine fighting against the great emperor. Let's put it this way. The great sage was amazing, right? When the nine-tailed celestial fox grew up, it ate the great sage as food. It ate a great sage for every meal. Can you guess how terrifying he is? Who would have thought that Qin Xianer would have such a terrifying bloodline? The Green Hill Grotto was really burying a genius. Brat, you should remind her. The toad said that she came from another world and her foundation is not on the buried Emperor star. In other words, she didn't have any powerful background here. Once someone found out that she had such a terrifying bloodline, they would definitely be killed. Do you think those old monsters of the Qin Chou clan will let her go? Even if he didn't kill her, he would extract her peerless bloodline. Therefore, he had to remind him. Lin Xian nodded and flew forward. The phantom of the nine-tailed fox slowly disappeared. Qin Xianer also opened her eyes and said, "Great, I feel that my strength has increased." He was not far from breaking through to become a true holy king. Lin Xian said, "Xianer, let me tell you something. Don't be shocked." He recounted the scene that he had seen earlier. Qin Xianer was shocked after hearing it. "You said that the phantom of the nine-tailed celestial fox appeared on my body." She was really shocked. As a member of the nine-tailed clan, she naturally knew what this meant. Lin Xian reminded her, "You don't have a powerful background here, so it's better not to show such talent." Qin Xianer nodded, "I understand. Thank you." Lin Xian smiled, "What are you thanking me for? You've already given yourself to me, how can I not help you?" Qin Xianer's face turned red. The toad exclaimed, "Damn, I came late. What did I miss?" Scram! With a kick, Qin Xianer sent the toad flying. "What are you going to do next?" Lin Xian asked. Qin Xianer said, "I have to go back. If I don't go back for a long time, they will find me and interrogate me. At that time, the secret will be discovered." Lin Xian nodded, "Go back to the Green Hill Grotto Heaven first. We'll contact each other then." "What about you?" Qin Xianer asked. After all, Lin Xian had killed many experts of the Ethereal Peak. If he was targeted by the Ethereal Peak, it would be troublesome. Lin Xian smiled, "They can't catch me." The two of them bade farewell and Qin Xianer returned. Lin Xian rose into the air and flew in another direction. Qin Xianer did not return to the Grotto Heaven. Instead, she returned to the palace above the limitless sea. After all, she came back with the elder this time. When she came to the nearby sea, she felt that the atmosphere was unusually tense. She was extremely nervous. She wanted to go back quietly. Suddenly, she felt a group of people walking towards her. The leader was a man who said coldly, "Qin Xianer, where did you go? Come with me to see the elder." Qin Xianer was stunned. Wasn't the secret discovered? She could only brace herself. The person in front sneered, "Don't forget your identity. Although you are from the Qin Chou tribe, you are from another world. You are not a prince or princess. How dare you sneak out without orders? Just wait to be punished." Qin Xianer heaved a sigh of relief. It didn't matter if she was punished. At most, she would be locked up for a few days. Or she would be asked to do more missions. As long as their secret was not discovered. Indeed, Qin Sienna was punished. After returning, she probably wouldn't be able to come out again. She was happy to go into seclusion. After waiting for 2 days, these people left. They seemed to have gained nothing. Coupled with the death of the ethereal peak experts, these people did not dare to stay here. Hence, they left in a hurry. On the other side, Lin Xian and Brother Toad were on their way. "Kid, where are we going next?" Brother Toad asked. Lin Xian said, "I don't know. I have a map in my hand. It should be a treasure ground. I just don't know where it is. Let me take a look." Brother Toad took a look and said, "This is a fragment of a map. Did you get the rest?" Lin Xian shook his head. "No, I got this map by chance. With this map, I got a key in the boundless sea." Lin Xian took out the key. It was a bronze key. It was incomparably simple. There were countless Tao patterns on it, emitting a mysterious aura. Brother Toad looked at it for a long time but could not understand it. This should be the key to a certain place. It must be related to the map. "Kid, it seems that I didn't look for it properly. And Xiao Bai, isn't he an expert at finding treasures? Let him look for it." Xiao Bai glared at him angrily and said lazily, "Not interested." Indeed, the little guy's interest was in all kinds of spirit fruits and spirit herbs. Lin Xian said, "There's no hurry. This kind of thing can only be found by chance. If I can't find it, I won't go. I came out this time to find some opportunities." Chapter 4498. The territory ruled by the Misty Peak was boundless and contained endless secrets and legends. There were a few ancient cities that had been left behind since ancient times. No one knew the exact time, but no one dared to behave atrociously in the ancient cities. This place was very sacred and had a mysterious aura. However, on this day, something happened in Qiankuan ancient city that shocked countless people in the city. On this day, an old sigh could be heard from Qiankuan ancient city. It was as if it was ringing in everyone's ears. It shocked countless people. Every full moon night, they would hear such a sigh. As a result, the news spread quickly. Many experts came to investigate but to no avail. However, on this full moon night, other than the old sigh, the entire Qiankuan ancient city shook. It was as if it was about to ascend. The people in the city were shocked. The news spread even wider and countless people were sure that there were changes in the ancient city. Perhaps, the legendary buried secret was about to appear. For a moment, many people were ready to head over. It was said that the 6 grotto heavens had received the news and were heading over. Even Ethereal Peak would send people over to investigate. Lin Xian also received the news. He took the map and found that Qiankuan ancient city was not far from them. They would arrive after flying for about 5 days. Hence, he was ready to head over. Qiankuan ancient city was very majestic and untraceable. It was like an ancient beast that stood between heaven and earth. The city walls were very tall and there were runes flickering on them with mysterious power. There were 2 statues at the city gate. They were 1,000 meters tall and were completely black. They had a majestic aura and gave people a sense of grandeur as they approached. Feeling this terrifying aura, Lin Xian was also amazed. It was really surprising. As expected of an ancient city. At this moment, he had changed his appearance and identity. After all, he did not want to be targeted by Ethereal Peak. This time, he knew that many experts from the grotto heavens would come as well. Hiding his identity might save him some unnecessary trouble. The Toad was also amazed. He felt that there was definitely a treasure in this city. That fairy was quite good-looking. The toad looked at the person in the distance and drooled. "Brat, it's very suitable for you. Do you want me to help you snatch it?" Lin Xian glanced at him. "You better keep a low profile here. The people here are all very strong. Otherwise, they might catch you and cook you." The surrounding people were all shocked. Did this toad want to die? "Don't you know that they're from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven?" The leader of the group was the leader of the heavenly abode. He was a late-stage Saint King. However, there were quite a lot of fairies who knew about the Grotto Heaven. Every single one of them was peerless. The one in the purple dress should be Fairy Yin Su. Many people looked at the purple figure with envy in their eyes. Lin Xian looked over and a smile appeared on his face. It was this woman again. It wasn't the first time he had seen him. The first time they had met, he had been watching the battle from afar. It was when he killed Mr. Ling Su. The people from the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven descended. The one leading the team was Elder Tian Yin. Previously, he went to the Limitless Sea without any success. Recently, he received some news, so he came here, Chenkuan Ancient City. At this moment, looking at the majestic ancient city, she also sighed with emotion. She hoped that she would gain something this time. Insu was also by his side. As an outstanding disciple of the Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, she was very valued. This time, her cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If she wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, she still needed an opportunity. Therefore, she was prepared to come to Qiankuan Ancient City to fight for her own opportunity. Feeling the countless envious gazes around her, Insu ignored them all. As a peerless fairy, a favored daughter of the heavens, she had received the attention of tens of thousands of people since she was young. However, the person who could move her had yet to appear. Suddenly, her heart skipped a beat, and a huge fear emerged. She turned her head abruptly, revealing a puzzled gaze, giving her a familiar and terrifying feeling. She looked around but didn't find anything. However, she saw a figure. That person was wearing a red robe, but his face was extremely unfamiliar. On his shoulder, there was a little monkey, and beside him was a toad. It was very strange. This man gave her an indescribable feeling. She seemed to have seen him before, but she couldn't remember. Moreover, from the other party's calm gaze, she actually felt a kind of fear from the bottom of her heart. "Junior Sister Sue, what's wrong?" Beside her, the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven asked with concern. Insu shook her head. It was nothing. She withdrew her gaze. However, two figures raised their heads and looked in the direction of Insu's gaze. When they saw Lin Xian, a cold glint appeared in their eyes. "A toad wants to eat swan meat." "Humph," they sneered and ignored him. In addition to the people from the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, Lin Xian also saw people from other grotto heavens. Even the people from the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had also come. Lin Xian realized that most of the people who came this time were Saint Kings. It seemed that these were the true experts of the Grotto Heavens. There were even some that Lin Xian had never seen before. It seemed that they had just come out of seclusion. Or perhaps they were people who had rushed over from outside to do missions. These people were all powerful experts and geniuses who had experienced hundreds of battles. Their appearance shocked countless people. It seemed that this Qinkuan ancient city would definitely stir up a storm this time. Let's go in too," Lin Xian said to the toad. Then, they also walked forward. After entering, it was very lively. The streets were very wide, and there was no problem for dozens of monsters to walk side by side. There were also pavilions that were scattered all over the place like stars in a chessboard. There were restaurants, inns, weapon pavilions, elixir halls, and everything else. the two of them exclaimed as they walked. Suddenly, the toad saw a hall that was even more majestic than an imperial palace. It flew out from inside and smelled all kinds of food. It said, "I'm hungry, let's go in and eat." Lin Xian looked and saw that the plaque on the hall's forehead said, "First Hall of Qianquan." What a domineering name. He nodded. "Okay, let's go." They walked inside. At this moment, a sneer came from the side. "Get lost, a toad wants to enter here. Can you afford it? Every grain of rice in the first hall of Qianquan is a heavenly treasure, and the price is calculated in dragon marrow. With just the two of you, I think you'd better not embarrass yourselves here." Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked to the side. A few people in green robes walked out. The leader was a tall man who looked very arrogant. Next to him was a pale-faced, short-haired man with a sword on his back. It flickered with a cold light. Both of them had reached the Grand Sage realm, and judging from the tokens they were wearing, they should be from Qingqiu Grotto Heaven. Lin Xian recognized them at a glance. They were the two people who had followed Insu back then. They were Yi Xiaofeng, the fox hero. The two of them looked at Lin Xian with killing intent. Chapter 4499. "Senior brothers, what are you waiting for?" Insu's voice came from behind. She walked over, and a strange fragrance wafted over, causing many people's eyes to light up. The two people in front of her also smiled. "Junior sister Su, we're waiting for you. Let's go." Insu nodded and walked over. When she saw Lin Xian, she was stunned again, and her eyes were filled with even more confusion. When Yi Xiaofeng saw this scene, he asked, "Junior sister Su, do you know this person?" Insu shook her head. "No, let's go." She nodded slightly at Lin Xian and walked in. "Kid, if you hadn't stopped me just now, I would have killed them with a slap." "Damn it." The toad was so angry that it stomped its feet. "How dare you call me a toad?" He wanted nothing more than to smash their faces. Lin Xian's face was also cold. "It doesn't matter. Let's wait for a while. I'll remember these two guys. I won't let them off." The two of them walked forward. At this moment, another person walked over and exclaimed. He jumped. Lin Xian turned his head and revealed a look of surprise. "Qin Xiener, is she here too?" Lin Xian said with a smile. "Aren't you punished?" Qin Xiener was stunned at first, but then she understood. Lin Xian had changed his appearance. She said, "Originally, I was going to be punished, but for some reason, Elder Tianyin brought me here." Lin Xian and Qin Xiener walked inside. During this time, Qin Xiener also told Lin Xian some strange things in Qianquan ancient city. Lin Xian was also surprised after hearing this. There were sighs even before the full moon. Moreover, Qianquan city seemed to be about to ascend. It was really strange. No wonder so many experts were gathered here. The two of them entered the hall and went to the second floor. They found a place by the window and sat down. "Junior sister Qin, why are you here?" At this moment, a surprised voice was heard. A woman in purple walked over. It was Insu. Insu looked at Xian with great surprise. She looked at Lin Xian again, a trace of doubt in her eyes. Then, she smiled. "Junior martial sister Qin, this young master looks unfamiliar. Aren't you going to introduce him?" Qin Xian was stunned at first, but she soon realized that Lin Xian wasn't willing to reveal his true identity. This was Sword Maniac Young Master. When Lin Xian was in the Green Hill Grotto Heaven, he used the name Sword Maniac. Now, Qin Xian naturally said it out loud. "Sword Maniac." Insu was surprised. She thought about it carefully and did not recall anyone using this name. Therefore, she asked which paradise the sword maniac prince belonged to. I'm not from the heavenly abode. Lin Xian shook his head. What a cold person. Phoneme was surprised. One had to know that with her beauty, as long as a man saw her, their eyes would definitely turn red and they would even try to curry favor with her. However, the man in front of her didn't seem to care at all. In fact, he didn't even seem to want to talk to her. This made her feel defeated. What was going on? Could it be that she couldn't compare to Qin Xianer? She retracted her thoughts and said, Junior Marshal Sister Qin, since you're your friend, come with me. Qin Xianer originally wanted to refuse, but Lin Xia said that it was fine. Then, the group of people walked forward. Lin Xian and the others were only sitting in the ordinary seats, but Phoneme brought them to the VIP seats. There were individual courtyards inside. This time, they were going to the Purple Cloud Pavilion, which was east of the main hall. There was another small courtyard. After entering, the interior looked like a paradise. There were many people standing in front of them. Some were from the Grotto Heaven, and some were from other Grotto Heavens. Junior Marshal Sister Su, you're back. Yi Xiaofeng turned his head and smiled. He walked over to welcome them. However, when he saw Lin Xian and Lin Xian beside Phoneme, he frowned. Kid, how did you get here? Is a toad qualified to come here? Damn you, the toad immediately jumped up. If you don't accept it, I'll fight you for 300 rounds. Do you believe that I won't slap you to death? Do you want to die? Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened, and the aura of a sage ruler spread out from his body. It caused the surrounding heaven and earth to shake. What happened? The people in front also turned their heads. Are you not giving us face by fighting here? Junior Marshal brother, what's going on? Hu Renjie also walked over. His expression was cold. He naturally also saw Lin Xian and the toad, and immediately frowned. Phoneme said, Senior Marshal brothers, don't be angry. She's someone I brought here. The two of them are Junior Marshal Sister Qin's friends. Hu Renjie looked at Qin Xianer, and a light appeared in his eyes. He remembered this person who had just come from another world. She went into seclusion not long after she arrived, and they hadn't seen each other much. He didn't expect her to come this time. Immediately, he smiled. So it's Junior Marshal Sister Qin. In that case, I'll give Junior Marshal Sister Qin some face. He waved his hand and came to Qin Xianer's side. Qin Xianer held Lin Xian's arm, nodded, and said, Thank you, Senior Marshal brother Hu. Then, she held Lin Xian's hand and walked in. Hu Renjie's expression froze. Looking at their backs, his face turned cold. Senior Marshal brother Hu, do you like this girl? Yi Xiaofeng asked. Hu Renjie didn't say anything. Yi Xiaofeng smiled. Senior Marshal brother, don't worry, I'll help you later. With that, they also walked up. There were many seats in front, and the toad directly jumped to the best one and sat down. Countless people exclaimed, and Yi Xiaofeng's face darkened. However, Hu Renjie didn't say anything. He would let the toad be smug for a while first. He would skin these two toads alive and pull out their tendons. Phoneme introduced Qin Xianer and Lin Xian. As for Lin Xian, everyone ignored him. He wasn't even a Grotto Heaven, so he probably didn't have any status. However, everyone paid close attention to Qin Xianer. After all, Qin Xianer's appearance wasn't inferior to Phoneme's. In fact, she was even more beautiful than Phoneme. In addition, she was a newcomer who had just arrived, so it should be easier to woo her. Junior Marshal Sister Qin, I'm from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven. Junior Marshall's sister Chin, I'm from the Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven. Junior Marshall's sister Chin, if you have any difficulties, feel free to come to me. The surrounding people began to introduce themselves. They were either geniuses from Grotto Heavens or powerhouses from other ancient races. In short, their identities were extraordinary. These people all stared at Chin Sienner with a hint of passion in their eyes. Obviously, they were all interested in Chin Sienner. Junior Marshall's sister Sienner, sit with me. At this moment, Hu Renjie stood up and said with a smile. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were also surprised. It seemed that Hu Renjie was also interested in Chin Sienner. Moreover, these two should be from the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Since Hu Renjie had taken a fancy to Chin Sienner, many people gave up on the idea. Hu Renjie's strength wasn't weak. In the younger generation of Qingqiu Grotto Heaven, he was definitely ranked in the top 10. Chin Sienner was also stunned. She said, no need, I'll sit here. This guy actually refused. Many people were shocked. Chapter 4500. Yi Xiaofeng said, Junior Sister Chin, you just came to Qingqiu Cave, so you don't know. Our senior brother Fox rarely invites people to sit with him. Senior brother Fox is definitely in the top 10 of the younger generation, and he even has the chance to be in the top 5. It's a great honor to sit beside him. No need. Chin Sienner shook her head, then took Lin Xian's hand and said, I'll sit here. Her meaning was obvious. The people around all stared at Lin Xian. Could it be that this guy and Chin Sienner were cultivation partners? They didn't expect that such a good cabbage would be taken by an ant. They looked at Lin Xian with disdain in their eyes. Some of them even had killing intent in their eyes. Hu Renjie's face darkened again. Chin Sienner had rejected him twice. No one had ever dared to reject him twice. There was also a trace of coldness in his eyes. Junior Sister Sienner was really unapproachable. Was this Junior Sister Sienner's cultivation partner? His strength was not very good. It seemed that he wasn't a Saint King. Everyone below the Saint King realm was an ant. Had Junior Sister Sienner heard of this? It was obvious that he was mocking Lin Xian with those words. Sure enough, Yi Xiaofeng also laughed when he heard this. Which cave did this sword maniac come from? Or which family did he belong to? I'm a rogue cultivator. Lin Xian said lightly. A rogue cultivator. No wonder. Yi Xiaofeng sneered. He's still a Saint Venerable. The weakest here is a half-step Saint King, and many are even Saint Kings. Do you think you're qualified to sit with us? Kid, if I were you, I would have left long ago because I don't have the face to stay here. Hearing Yi Xiaofeng's words, the others also burst into laughter. The man from the Flying Feather Cave said. Kid, you said you're not qualified to come here. Our status is beyond your imagination. Our rings and necklaces are all super powerful saint weapons and magic treasures. I'm afraid you've never seen them in your life. Chin Sienner's face instantly turned pale, and anger appeared in her eyes. These people are too despicable. They were mocking Lin Xian. Despicable. Moreover, it was because of her. She looked at Lin Xian apologetically. However, he noticed that Lin Xian's expression was calm. Chin Sienner started to get nervous. She knew Lin Xian's true strength. Although he was still a holy venerate, killing holy kings would not be a problem. That was because there had been more than one Saint King that had fallen in his hands. Furthermore, the ones he had killed were from the Misty Peak. A single finger of the Misty Peak was more precious than all the people present. Lin Xian could kill someone like that without hesitation, let alone these people. If these people angered Lin Xian, none of them would be able to leave this place alive. Thinking of this, she shook her head slightly inside, feeling sad for these people. Originally, they were from the same paradise, and she wanted to help them. However, these people mocked Lin Xian, and even had designs on her. Naturally, she had to look on coldly. Insu also frowned slightly. After all, she was the one who had brought Qin Xianer and Lin Xian here. Yet, they were being ridiculed in such a manner. She said, "Everyone, why do you have to do this? Can you give me some face?" As soon as she said this, the people from the other paradises stopped talking. They all looked at Yi Xiaofeng and Hurenjia. Hurenjia's eyes also turned cold. Yi Xiaofeng said, "Junior sister Supersonic, I advise you to stay out of this matter." You. Insu also frowned. Do these two really think they can do whatever they want just because they are holy kings? Since you don't welcome us, I'll leave with junior sister Qin and sword maniac prince. At the same time, she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't treat you well. I'll open a separate courtyard, and we'll go there to eat." After that, she wanted to leave with Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not have the intention to leave. Qin Xianer looked at Yin Su with a smile on her face. "Thank you for your kindness, senior sister Yin Su. It seems that there are still good people in Green Hill Paradise. After all, senior sister Yin Su is a good person. If she is in trouble in the future, I can help her. You want to leave?" Hurenjia smiled when he saw this scene. "Sure, you can leave, but you have to get out yourself. You two can't leave." He stared at Lin Xian, then stared at Insu and Qin Xianer. The corners of Yi Xiaofeng's mouth also lifted into a smile. Since Hurenjia was interested in Qin Xianer, Insu was his. He had been chasing this junior sister for a long time, but she always found an excuse to reject him. This time, he would definitely not let the other party escape. Insu's face changed when she heard this. Damn it, this guy is also thinking about me. Qin Xianer sighed. These people are really courting death. Courting death. She was ready to watch a good show. Lin Xian stood up and walked forward. He came in front of Hurenjia and said coldly, "Get out." "How? Why don't you show me?" "Kid, do you want to die? I didn't attack you just now because of my two junior sisters. How dare you challenge me? Do you believe that I can kill you in one move? Even if I don't kill you, I can break your limbs and destroy your cultivation." He was already a saint king, and Lin Xian was only a saint venerable. He could kill Lin Xian with his eyes. However, Lin Xian was courting death. Is that so? With your cultivation? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up in disdain. Make your move. Let me see if you have the right to kill me. Ignorant ant. I'll fulfill your wish. Hurenjia's eyes flashed coldly. He was really angry. Lin Xian was not from the Grotto Heavens and did not have a powerful identity. So what if he killed him? Thinking of this, he threw out a palm attack. Under the palm attack, the whole world shook. The geniuses from the Grotto Heavens were shocked. He's too strong, no wonder he's from the Grotto Heavens. His strength was so strong that even a saint king of the same level would not be able to block it. Not to mention a saint venerable. Under the palm attack, Lin Xian's soul would be destroyed. The surrounding people sneered. Lin Xian looked at the attack and threw out a palm attack. You dare to fight back? Hurenjia was stunned. Then, a cold murderous intent appeared in his eyes. The law on his palm was even more terrifying. In the next moment, the two palms collided. Boom! The sound of thunder and bones breaking could be heard. The people from the Grotto Heavens laughed. Junior sister Qin, it's such a pity. I'm afraid your cultivation partner is going to be destroyed. They smiled coldly. However, in the next moment, when they saw the situation in front of them, the smiles on their faces froze. Then, a look of horror and shock appeared on their faces. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. Then, a bloody mist filled the air. Hurinjia's palm was broken and turned into a bloody mist. Then, his arm also cracked. In the end, half of his body was torn into pieces. He retreated and roared crazily. It was hard to believe that he was in such a miserable state. Chapter 45:01. Lin Xian retracted his palm. There was not even a crack on his palm. What was going on? The other party was unscathed from the clash of the two. However, a sage king was seriously injured. The surrounding people were stunned. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Yi Xiaofeng was even more stunned. His senior brother, Hurinjia, had been defeated. How was that possible? Insu was also dumbfounded. She could not believe it. Only Qin Xianer smiled. It seemed that the dragon was about to awaken. These people were unlucky. With one palm, Hurinjia was smashed into a bloody mist. Then, Lin Xian continued to walk forward. His expression was extremely cold and emotionless. Hurinjia's pupils constricted as he roared crazily. Damn brat, how dare you hurt me? You're dead. I'll skin you alive. I'll break your bones. I'll make you wish you were dead. Not only you, but everyone related to you will go to hell. A crazy roar was heard. Yi Xiaofeng also came back to his senses. His back was already drenched in cold sweat. At this moment, he also jumped out and said, Brat, how dare you hurt senior brother Hurin? You're dead. Senior brother Hurin is from the Qingqiu clan. Senior brother Hurin's father and grandfather are both elders. Kneel down and accept your death now. Otherwise, you're finished. Lin Xian raised his head and glanced at the other party. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. His gaze was like a divine sword as he looked at Yi Xiaofeng. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he took 2 steps back and almost fell to the ground. Damn it! He could not believe that the other party was only a sage king. His gaze was like a divine sword that was about to pierce through his body. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he did not dare to speak. Lin Xian looked at Hurinjia again. Hurinjia also felt his hair stand on end. He felt like his body was about to be pierced through by the gaze. He could only roar arrogantly. Brat, do you know who I am? Do you know that many elders and powerhouses of our grotto heaven are here this time? As long as they know that you're dead when they arrive. Oh, is that so? Then go ahead and call for help. Lin Xian said indifferently. I'll give you a chance. Call all the elders you know over. Cold killing intent also surfaced in Lin Xian's eyes. Now that his strength had increased greatly, he wanted to have a big battle. Moreover, he was a disciple of the Shantian Pavilion. Even if an unparalleled Saint King appeared, he wouldn't be able to escape. He also believed that those people would not dare to touch him. Hearing this, the surrounding people were all stunned. Even Hurinjia did not believe it. What did he say? The other party wanted him to seek help from the elders and experts. Did this brat really think that he could fight against the elders of the grotto heaven? This was a good opportunity. This brat was too arrogant. He hurriedly informed his elders. On the other side, Yi Xiaofeng also revealed a ferocious smile. This brat who doesn't know his limits is definitely going to die this time. Phonim was also stunned. What was this sword maniac thinking? It looked at Qin Xian'er and said, "Junior sister, take the young master and leave first. I will deal with the situation here." However, Xian'er shook her head. "I can't change his decision." Phoneme sighed. Why was this junior sister Qin so stubborn? She had no choice but to take out the voice transmission bell. "Master, something has happened on my side. Can you come over for a while?" It didn't take long for the voice transmission bell to return. "Su-er, don't worry about this matter. Hu Renjia's family is extremely powerful. I can't fight against them." Phoneme's eyes were filled with despair when she heard this news. Who dares to cause trouble in the first hall of heaven and earth? At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Everyone was taken aback as they looked ahead. The next moment, they saw a tall man walking over. This Renhao was handsome and wore a luxurious robe. He had many saint artifacts on him. His every move was surrounded by endless laws. It was as if a god had descended. Behind him was a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard. This middle-aged man looked like a scholar. There was a mysterious power in his eyes. "Who are you?" The man from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven frowned and asked. "Who dares to interfere in our business?" "My name is Luo Fifin. I'm also the owner of the first hall of heaven and earth," the man said proudly. Hearing this, the surrounding people exclaimed. Luo Fifin, the owner of the hall of heaven and earth. His identity was extraordinary. Although it was their first time in the ancient city of heaven and earth, they had heard of his name. He could be said to be one of the 3 young masters of the ancient city of heaven and earth. His identity and strength were unparalleled. Even if they saw him, they would have to treat him with respect. The ancient city of heaven and earth had been passed down for a long time. It had a mysterious power. As one of the 3 top families in the ancient city of heaven and earth, the Luo family's background and strength were terrifying. As the young master of the Luo family, Luo Fifin's identity was extraordinary. Therefore, the surrounding people were stunned. This was one of the 3 young masters of heaven and earth. Now that they had met him, he was indeed extraordinary. Many of the geniuses from the Grotto Heavens were excited. Luo Fifin looked forward and saw the injured Hu Renjia. He frowned slightly. "You guys are fighting here. Don't tell me you guys don't care about the rules I set." Sensing the anger in the voice, everyone gasped. The others sucked in a breath of cold air as well. Although they were strong, their status was still far from being comparable to the other party. Even the arrogant Vulpera hero's expression changed. He said, "It's this guy who started it. He doesn't know what's good for him." He pointed at Lin Xian. Luo Fifin looked at Luo Fifin. He also looked at Lin Xian. Then he said, "Did you do it?" He was distorting the truth. Lin Xian snorted. "You should know who did it." "Who is it?" Luo Fifin asked. "Those people from the other Grotto Heavens." They all pointed at Lin Xian. "Yes, it's this guy." They didn't dare to offend Hu Renjia, let alone Luo Fifin. "It seems that you did it. In that case, kneel down and cut off your hands. Crawl out of here and I'll spare your life," Luo Fifin said coldly. The rules he set were not allowed to be broken. Once someone broke the rules, they would have to pay the price. Lin Xian smiled when he heard that. "What are you laughing at?" Luo Fifin frowned. Lin Xian said, "I'm laughing at your stupidity. You're the first palace in the world. There should be a lot of arrays around you. Not only are there defensive arrays, but also observation arrays. You must have seen what happened before. Otherwise, you wouldn't have rushed here in the first place. Since you saw it, you must know who provoked me first. But you still attacked me. This shows that you're not a powerful person. You don't want to offend the people from the grotto heavens. Instead, you chose me, who has no background. But I can only say that you're really stupid. The surrounding people gasped. This guy dares to fight with Luo Fifin. Does he want to die? Even they didn't dare to offend Luo Fifin. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to walk out of Qinkuan ancient city alive. Great, you're courting death. A ferocious smile appeared on Yi Xiaofeng's face. It seems that I don't need to do anything. Chapter 4502. Luo Fifin also smiled. His courage was commendable. Do you know? In Qinkuan ancient city, no one has ever dared to resist me, let alone challenge me. You are the first. Speaking of this, his face became gloomy, and there was a hint of murderous intent in his eyes. The surrounding space continued to fall and freeze. Even the Saint Kings felt a chill run down their spines. Luo Fifin's strength was definitely at the Sage King level, and it was very terrifying. If such a person were to attack, no one would be able to resist. I haven't fought for a long time, and I didn't expect that when I fight again, it would be to kill you, an ant. You should feel honored. He stretched out a finger, and the Dharma danced in the sky, stirring up the wind between heaven and earth. When he pointed out his finger, it was like a vast sea, rushing over. Everyone was pushed back, and their faces were pale. Buzz. At the same time, Lin Xian's eyes also burst out an extremely cold light like lightning. He took a step forward and clenched his hand into a fist. When he threw out a punch, it was like a giant dragon, sweeping across the world. Boom! This punch, with an indomitable force, tore the void into pieces. His finger was instantly shattered. Not only that. This punch sent Luo Fifin flying. Luo Fifin was like a kite with a broken string, and he directly hit the array. He fell down and vomited blood. Endless cracks appeared on his body, and his blood instantly dyed the ground red. Those people in the surrounding grotto heavens went crazy. What did they see? He actually attacked Luo Fifin. Moreover, he injured Luo Fifin with a punch. How strong was this kid? Why was he so strong? At the same time, they felt that he was too bold. He would definitely not be able to walk out of the first hall alive. Luo Fifin was injured, and at the same time, countless saber guards appeared in front of him. Their eyes were cold and murderous, and they all stared at Lin Xian. As long as the order was given, they would attack ruthlessly. The middle-aged man with a white face and no beard who had been following him also frowned. He stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "You dare to attack here? Did you mean his guards? In that case, attack." He was the one who didn't know right from wrong and wanted to bully others. I was just teaching him a lesson on how to behave. The middle-aged man did not say anything. He closed the folding fan in his hand, and a cold aura appeared in his eyes. Endless, mysterious trajectories appeared in his eyes, forming the shape of a hexagram. An extremely terrifying soul power flew out from his eyes. The people around him, their souls. This was a destructive soul aura. This middle-aged man was an eye master. Not good. Yin Su's expression turned ugly. Even Qin Xianer exclaimed. Soul attacks were the most dangerous. The slightest carelessness could lead to the destruction of both body and soul. Golden light burst forth from Lin Xian's eyes. At the same time, a ray of reincarnation light appeared and flew forward. He managed to block his opponent's hexagram, the Dharma's Dharma, no, where? The middle-aged man's pupils constricted and his face paled. He didn't attack again, his heart filled with shock was. He was now 4,800 years old. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the Saint King realm. However, he had been injured previously and had fallen to the middle stage. Now, he was in Chinkuan ancient city, recovering from his injuries. Although he was only a mid-stage sacred venerate at the moment, he was a cultivator of ocular techniques. His six-light ocular technique was extremely terrifying. No one in the same realm could stop him. This time, he chose to stay in the Luo family to protect Luo Fifin because the Luo family had saved him. He did not expect to see today's incident. Elder Tong. Please take him down. Suppress him. I want him to live a life worse than death. I want him to regret coming to this world. Luo Fifin roared crazily, his face hideous. He could not believe that he was defeated by an ant. It was a great humiliation to him. Only by torturing Luo Fifin could he vent his anger. Lu Mang Daoist frowned slightly, but he did not say anything. He did not make a move. Luo Fifin stood up and roared crazily. Elder Tong, I told you to kill him. Did you not hear me? He was really mad. What was wrong with him today? How dare the people around him disobey his orders? Lu Mang Daoist frowned. To be honest, he came to protect Luo Fifin to repay his kindness. However, Luo Fifin was not qualified to order him around. He could even ignore Luo Fifin's father, let alone Luo Fifin. When he, Lu Mang Daoist, was running rampant in the world, these people were not even born yet. Of course, there was another reason why he did not make a move. He was too shocked. Although the young man in front of him was only a sacred venerate, he was far inferior to him. However, the eye technique just now had shocked him. He felt the power of reincarnation in Luo Fifin's eyes. There was only one person in this area who could control such power. He was from the ethereal peak. Only an extraordinary person in the ethereal peak could control the power of reincarnation. The young man in front of him was from the ethereal peak. Moreover, he was not an ordinary person. Even though the Luo family was one of the three major families in the Chinkuan ancient city, they would be in trouble if they offended such a person. At the thought of this, he shook his head slightly. If he offended the ethereal peak, he could just leave. The world was big. If he found a mountain to hide in, those people would not be able to find him. However, the Luo family could not do that. The Luo family's foundation was in the Chinkuan ancient city. Once they offended the ethereal peak, they would not be able to escape. Lu Mang Daoist sighed when he thought of how the Luo family had saved him. He took out a voice transmission talisman and was about to send a voice transmission to the Luo family head so that he could be prepared. Everyone waited in silence, their scalps tingling. When Luo Fifin saw the voice transmission talisman lit up, he heaved a sigh of relief. Great! It seems like the experts from the Luo family are here. As long as the experts from the Luo family arrive, this kid will definitely regret it. Ha 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 ha. This kid is dead meat. Yi Xiaofeng laughed hideously. After injuring young Master Luo, he would not be able to walk out of the hall today even if he had 10 lives. Yin Su's face was pale. He whispered, "You two should leave quickly." Qin Xianer was also surprised. This kid was too lawless. If it were her, she would not have dared to do so. However, this guy seemed to have always been like this. No matter where he was, he would press forward and no one could stop him. Seeing that Lin Xian and Qin Xianer did not leave, Sui Yi sighed. He had tried his best. Boz. Boz. At this moment, another team walked in from outside. The leader was an old man. At the same time, there were 8 figures following behind him. When these people walked in, their powerful aura suppressed everything. That's great. Elder, you're here. Yi Xiaofeng exclaimed when he saw this. Hu Renjie also stood up and revealed a hideous smile. Chapter 4503. The elder waved his hand, and the 8 battle servants immediately walked over. Among the 8 battle servants, 3 were Saint Kings, and the other 5 were half-step Saint Kings. At this moment they attacked together, and their momentum was shocking. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Kid, aren't you good at fighting? Why don't you come and fight me? How dare you attack me? I'll make you wish you were dead today. Hu Renjie roared crazily outside. He could finally take revenge. To be honest, he was also stunned by the opponent's strength. But so what? Now that there were 3 Saint Kings and 5 half-step Saint Kings here, no one could fight against them if they attacked together. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly and turned to look at Hu Renjie. A golden glow appeared in his eyes. Hu Renjie held his head crazily and knelt down, trembling non-stop. Damn it, how dare you attack me? The elder was furious. The others were also shocked. How could Hu Renjie be so embarrassed with just a look? This kid's strength was too terrifying. Hu Renjie felt that his head was about to split open, and his soul was severely injured. This pain was worse than killing him. Kill! Seeing this scene, the 8 battle servants attacked crazily. Their master was injured, and they would definitely tear him into pieces. The aura of the 3rd Great Sage King body burst out, and it was incomparable. 3 swords slashed over, and the other 5 people held battle swords and formed a sword array to attack. The sword light was biting cold, and it split the sky and earth. The sword light flashed, and it was incomparable. You guys. Feeling these people's attacks, Lin Xian's eyes were sharp. In the next moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes. From his body, a power spread out, and the sky and earth shook. Then, he struck out with his palm. As soon as he used the man-ruler seal, he was like a peerless god of war, sweeping away everything. The 3 swords were shattered in an instant. The 8 people vomited blood and flew backward, turning into a blood mist. This strike was so terrifying that no one could compare with it. The surrounding people were stunned. Whether it was the experts of the Grotto Heaven or the people of the Luo family, they were all dumbfounded. Now they knew that they couldn't measure this kid's strength by his cultivation level. This kid definitely had the strength of a Saint King. Moreover, he was already close to the Saint King stage. What kind of divine being was this? How could he be so powerful? You're courting death. The old man from the Qingqiu Utopia also shouted angrily. He slapped out with both hands, which transformed into 2 sharp claws, and charged over. The void shattered. Like a storm, it swept towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was grave as he struck out with another palm. Instantly, the sharp claws that filled the sky continuously shattered. At this moment, his expression was solemn. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he had lived for nearly 4,000 years. For a Saint King, this was considered very old, so he had found a successor. Luo Fifan, as the next head of the family. Luo Fifan's performance had been very good, which made him very satisfied. However, today's matter really made him worried. Luo Yuanshan, a late-stage Saint King. After he appeared, he did not say anything, but his terrifying aura suppressed all directions. No one dared to be arrogant, and all of them kept silent. Qin Xianer was also nervous. Such a terrifying person, even Lin Xian could not resist. He secretly glanced at Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked calm. He could not defeat a late-stage Saint King now, but so what? If he wanted to leave, the other party could not stop him. Moreover, he had the Xiantian token, so the other party would definitely not dare to touch him. After Luo Yuanshan came, he came to Lu Mang Daoist and asked something. Lu Mang Daoist whispered a few times, and Luo Yuanshan frowned even more. He glanced at Lin Xian, and then walked over. Seeing this, Luo Fifan's mouth curved into a smile. Great, my father is going to take action personally, this kid will definitely die. The people in the surrounding grotto heavens heaved a sigh of relief. The devil was dead, and they were safe. Hu Renjia and Yi Xiaofeng, who had been crippled, also smiled. They wanted to see the other party die with their own eyes. Both Qin Xianer and Insu were extremely nervous. They did not know how Lin Xian would deal with it. Lin Xian looked calm. Although the other party's aura was terrifying, his divine body was strong. However, with his divine body, he could still withstand it. He only needed an instant to summon the Grand Sage Tower. At that time, no matter how strong the other party was, he would not be able to hurt him. Chapter 4504. Luo Yuanshan spoke. Sword maniac young master, I have offended you before. My son, Luo Fifan, has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I hope young master can forgive him. Everyone was stunned. What did they just see? Luo family's patriarch, Luo Yuanshan, was actually apologizing. Were they dreaming? Luo Fifan was even more dumbfounded. What a joke. Father, this kid has no background. He's not even from the grotto heaven. Kill him and avenge me. He was really crazy. His father was the patriarch of Luo family. Luo family was one of the 3 major families in Qiankuan ancient city. They had an extraordinary status and no one dared to provoke them. Especially now, they were in their territory. Why should they apologize? He really couldn't understand. Luo Yuanshan frowned. Stupid thing, I've trained you for nothing. He was really mad. The person in front of him had an extraordinary identity. Even if they were from Qiankuan ancient city, they did not dare to provoke him. However, his son actually provoked him. If he was not his biological son, he would have slapped him to death. The other party was an existence that could use the power of reincarnation. In Misty Peak, his status was extremely extraordinary. To offend such a person was to offend Misty Peak. Their Luo family could not stop Misty Peak's strength. After the initial madness and shock, Luo Fifan also calmed down. His eyes were filled with fear. He knew that his father was not a coward, but an overlord. He could devise strategies and create clouds and rain with a flip of his hand. Such a person's strength, vision and knowledge were far from what he could compare with. Since his father was so respectful, it showed that the other party's identity was definitely not ordinary. Some things could not be found out at all. This person's identity was above his father's. Thinking of this, he was so scared that he almost knelt down. He actually offended such a person. Damn it, these idiots in the grotto heaven actually misled him. Those people in the surrounding grotto heaven were even more shocked. They became desperate and knelt on the ground one by one. Before, they were apologizing and begging for forgiveness. However, later, when Luo Yuanshan came, they became arrogant again, thinking that the other party was dead. But who would have thought that Luo Yuanshan had to treat him with respect? How could this kid be a rogue cultivator? This guy was definitely hiding his strength. They no longer dared to be arrogant. They all knelt down and kowtowed incessantly, begging for mercy. Lin Xian looked at Luo Yuanshan and said. He hoped that the Luo clan would not pass on this matter to him. Hearing this, Luo Fifan's face changed. Was he going to deprive him of his status as the young patriarch? he exclaimed, "Father! Shut up!" Luo Yuanshan shouted coldly, then looked at Lin Xian. "Young master, you're right. I understand." From now on, Luo Fifan was no longer the young lord of the Luo family, nor would he inherit the Luo family. The guards of the Luo clan were all stunned. This was a shocking change. Luo Fifan fell to the ground with a thump. His soul seemed to have disappeared. His most precious identity had been stripped away with a single sentence. "I wonder if young master is satisfied?" Luo Yuanshan asked again. Lin Xian nodded, then looked at the people in the surrounding grotto heavens. "As for these people, I want to cripple their limbs and destroy their cultivations. Do you have any objections?" Luo Yuanshan shook his head. He had no objections, it was all up to the young master. "Very well." Lin Xian waved his hand and endless sword qi cut off the limbs of the grotto heavens experts and destroyed their cultivations. They were completely crippled. Screams could be heard, making one's scalp numb. Luo Yuanshan's pupils shrank. This person was young, but he was very decisive. He did not show any mercy to his enemies. Fortunately, he came personally and apologized. Otherwise, the Luo clan would be in danger. "Young master, please come to the Luo clan. We will definitely treat you well and give you a welcome." Luo Yuanshan invited him again. Lin Xian nodded, then looked at Qin Xiener and Yin Su. He said, "You two can go back to the Green Hill Grotto Heaven. As for today's matter, don't worry. If the elders of the Grotto Heavens are not convinced, ask them to come to me." After saying that, he turned around and led the way. He walked out of the main hall with the Luo clan's members. At the back, Yin Su was stunned. She pinched her face and exclaimed, "Who is this young master Jian Qi?" Qin Xiener also sighed and smiled bitterly. "I can't see through him anymore." Lin Xian and Yin Su left. What happened here spread, and people from the other grotto heavens rushed over. When they saw their geniuses and experts being crippled, they immediately roared into the sky. Who was it? They had to catch the culprit and tear him into pieces. After an elder of the Luo clan arrived, he said a few words, and the people of the grotto heavens calmed down. The person who attacked was respectfully asked to leave by the Luo clan's head. Moreover, the young clan leader of the Luo clan lost his position as the young clan leader because he had offended the culprit. This scene shocked the people of the grotto heavens. They knew that the culprit must be an extraordinary person. It seemed that their disciples were too stupid to offend such a person. They were lucky to be alive. Therefore, they did not dare to talk about revenge. In the following time, more and more experts entered the Qinquan ancient city. The people of the grotto heavens also restrained their disciples from causing trouble. After all, the matter of the Qinquan first palace had spread, and others were shocked. Such an unknown person could very well have a boundless background. If they were to provoke him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, these people were cautious. In addition, the day of the full moon would arrive soon. At that time, they would be able to find out the true secret of the Qinquan ancient city. The Luo clan was one of the three great clans of the ancient city. The mansion was very grand and huge. In a pavilion of the Luo clan, Lin Xian sat cross-legged. The laws on his body flickered, and the surrounding treasures gradually melted and were absorbed by him. Not long after, he opened his eyes, and there was a cold light in his eyes. Boz. He took out a scroll and looked at it carefully. After arriving, the Luo clan treated him with respect. And he was happy to do so. Moreover, the Luo clan was one of the great clans here, and naturally knew more about the Qinquan ancient city. Lin Xian asked some questions and learned some secrets. The origin of the Qinquan ancient city was not ordinary, and could even be said to be extremely shocking. This ancient city was built by a great emperor, the Heaven and Earth Emperor. In the ancient times, he was also a very terrifying great emperor. The Heaven and Earth Emperor had two disciples, and they were the Great Sage of Qinquan and the Great Sage of Kuan. Both of them eventually reached the peak of the Great Sage, but they were unable to take another step forward and had no fate with the Great Emperor realm. Kacha. The spirit formation gate seemed to have been opened. The next moment, the entire Qinquan ancient city started to tremble violently. Everyone in the Qinquan ancient city was startled awake as they soared into the sky. What happened? Qinquan city was Xuan heaven. It couldn't be. Could it be that this ancient city was about to ascend and become a flying immortal? Kun. The Luo family to Qinquan, Luo was Xuan earth. The Luo family's family head and a group of elders walked out. Sure enough, there was a change. Furthermore, it was an advance. Everyone, prepare yourselves. Once the order was given, the surrounding spirit formations flickered. The experts focused their attention on the changes. Lin Xian also walked out. He floated in the air and carefully sensed the changes. He wondered what sort of change would happen in the end. Outside the ancient city of Qinquan, countless people were rushing over. They had arrived late. However, they were not worried. There were still 5 days until the night of the full moon. However, when they arrived near the ancient city of Qinquan, they discovered that there was a change ahead. The ancient city of Qinquan was rising from the ground. It was as if it was about to ascend. They were anxious and wanted to approach it. However, the enormous power sent them flying. A sage ruler's body was directly turned into a bloody mist. The others did not dare to approach it. They could only watch from afar. What was that? They saw an enormous palm reaching out from the cracked ground. The palm was enormous. It was dragging the ancient city of Qinquan. The ground around the ancient city was cracking non-stop. A large canyon appeared. From within the crack, an even larger shadow emerged. It was still a city. The ancient city of Qinquan was only a part of it. There was more underground. Countless people were stunned. They rose into the air one after another. At this moment, the area that appeared from underground was twice as large as the ancient city of Qinquan. The ancient city of Qinquan was already very large. It was like a country. At this moment, it was twice as large. It was truly unimaginable. Did no one notice it before? That hand, whose hand was it? It could actually lift an ancient city. Countless shocked voices sounded. Inside the ancient city of Qinquan, everyone felt the sky and earth shake. Some of them wanted to escape, but they were also forced back by that force. Soon, they also discovered it. Some people stood at the edge of the city wall. However, at this moment, a new area appeared in front of them. It had just come out of the ground. There was soil on it and a lot of gravel scattered all over the ground. What was going on? Countless people were surprised. The families that had originally lived in the ancient city of Qinquan were even more shocked. They did not expect that the city that they had lived in for countless years would actually hide a part of it. Only now did it truly appear. Not only that, they felt an extremely mysterious and terrifying aura burst out from the ancient city. These new areas were not simple at all. It seemed that the secret was in these new areas. Countless people took a deep breath. When the shaking calmed down, they were ready to move out and investigate. Lin Xian was also incomparably surprised. He did not expect it to be like this. He had the heavenly secret divine eye and could see through everything. He saw a gigantic palm stretching out from the ground. However, he was unable to investigate those areas that had just appeared. There seemed to be mysterious runes blocking everything. It seemed that he could only go there personally to investigate. After a long time, the ancient city of Chinkuan stopped shaking and gradually calmed down. An aura surged in all directions. Let's go. Some people couldn't wait any longer and flew off in all directions. It seemed that they wanted to investigate. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He looked at the toad and said, "Let's go and take a look too." The toad could not wait any longer. When it heard this, it instantly jumped out. "I'm here to hunt for treasures." Its strange cry sounded between heaven and earth. These new areas of the city were very cold. It was unknown whether it was because they had been buried under the ground for countless years or because of other special reasons. It gave people a creepy feeling. The ground was black, and the surrounding buildings had endless runes on them. Although they were simple and dim, the aura that was emitted was still shocking. It was truly a mysterious place. Chapter 45:06. Buzz. On the deserted street, two figures suddenly appeared. It was Lin Xian and the toad. They came to this new area and looked around curiously. "Something is wrong. We have to be careful." The toad doesn't dare to be careless either. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, this was an ancient city built by the great emperor himself. Who knew what terrifying things there were? At this time, more than a dozen figures rushed over from behind. They were disciples of the Grotto Heaven, ancient race, and even native clans of Chinkuan ancient city. After they arrived, they also looked around curiously. No one looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian changed his appearance, so these people didn't recognize him. In addition, Lin Xian's aura wasn't strong, so these people ignored him. There were so many buildings here. There might be treasures inside. Let's go check it out. 3 silhouettes flew forward. There was a pavilion in front. It was 7 stories tall and looked very simple. The 3 of them came forward and smashed the door with one palm. Then, they walked in. The others also took a deep breath and prepared to move. At this moment, a scream suddenly came from the pavilion that they had entered earlier. Then, Saint Blood flew out. There was even the sound of bones breaking. What happened? Everyone here was an expert. The weakest was a half-step Saint King. At this moment, they felt their hair stand on end. Was there anyone else in this area? It shouldn't be. Even Lin Xian was surprised. Someone came earlier than him. He frowned. His eyes flashed as he looked forward. The next moment, his pupils shrank. The others exclaimed and took 3 steps back. They were all facing a great enemy. From the broken pavilion, a figure rushed out. It was one of the 3 who went in. At this moment, he was covered in blood. Half of his body had disappeared. His internal organs were shattered. Demon. There's a demon inside. Run. Demon. Everyone was taken aback. Before they could react, they saw a pitch-black hand grabbing onto the door frame. Then, a figure walked out. It was a black figure. It was very ferocious. There were barbs on its body. It looked like a demon beast. His eyes were incomparably blood-red. Furthermore, they were extremely large. They took up nearly half of his entire face. The remaining half was a bloody mouth with sharp fangs that were comparable to a saint weapon. He looked extremely ferocious, like a demon that had crawled out from hell. At this moment, Saint Blood was dripping from the bloody mouth, as well as some bones that had yet to be swallowed. Clearly, these were the bodies of the two people from before. Was it actually eaten by the other party? The faces of the surrounding people were extremely ugly. Roar! With a roar, the ferocious black demonic figure jumped out and crushed the expert who was trying to escape. That person was a half-step Saint King, but at this moment, his body was crushed by this foot. Then, his blood was swallowed by the ferocious demonic shadow on his back. Roar! His blood-red eyes emitted an even more terrifying light. He roared at the sky, and a boundless bloody aura filled the air. At the same time, deep roars could be heard from the surrounding buildings. No way, could there be more than one? The surrounding people were stunned. They saw a pair of scarlet eyes shining through the cracks of the buildings. Boom, boom, boom. Then, there was the sound of something breaking through the air. The windows of the buildings were torn apart, and then all the black demonic shadows flew out. Some of them were in human form, standing and walking. Some were like demonic beasts, running on all fours. Some even had black tails and black wings. But without exception, all of them had blood-red eyes and ferocious faces. The surrounding people's faces were extremely ugly. They had originally come to search for treasures, but who would have thought that this new area would have so many terrifying things? Even Lin Xian furrowed his brows. Could it be that all these things had been sealed under the ground before? Now that they had been opened for some strange reason. He was very suspicious now. What exactly was this key that he had obtained? Could it be that it would release countless terrifying demons? Terrifying demonic shadows appeared around them. There were nearly 50 of them, and they surrounded Lin Xian and the others tightly. At this moment, there were already shocking sounds of collisions in the distant area, and there were also screams. Someone exclaimed. It seemed that they were not the only place. Other places also had such demonic shadows. There was even a huge battle, and some people had already fallen. Let's do it. Lin Xian roared. He stomped his foot and slashed out with his sword. The toad roared, "Get out of my way." His voice turned into sound waves that swept out in all directions. The surrounding void continued to shatter as the earth rumbled under the impact of the collision. However, this building was personally built by the Great Emperor, so it would not be destroyed. But it was still shaking violently. Hurry up and do it. After Lin Xian made his move, the surrounding powerhouses of the Grotto Heavens and families also made their moves. They had all been through hundreds of battles to cultivate to this level. Even though he had been scared stiff earlier, his counterattack was extremely sharp and fierce at this moment. There were only a dozen of them, but they managed to stop the demonic shadows. Their cooperation was also getting better. Of course, there were also people who were injured in the process. One of them even had half of his body torn apart. Although these guys were strange and mysterious, they were not very strong. We can still handle it. The toad also heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian frowned because he felt that the first one that appeared was blocking him. The strength of this one was more terrifying than the others. That pair of blood-red eyes made him feel extremely uncomfortable. But soon, he sneered. Want to attack me? You must be tired of living. Golden light burst out from his eyes, and the soul sword flew out. The pupils of the other party's blood-red eyes shrank. His soul was severely injured. In the next moment, he let out a shrill roar. Many people were bleeding from their 7 orifices, and their ears were about to burst. He crazily charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian was stunned. He was still alive. That shouldn't be. With his soul power and the heavenly secret god eyes, this attack would definitely shatter the other party's soul. Even if he didn't die, he would have lost the power to resist. But the other party still charged over. Moreover, his aura did not weaken. What was wrong with these guys? Lin Xian frowned. His body swayed, and he dodged the other party's attack. Then, he kicked out. It collided with the other party's huge demonic claw, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. The demonic shadow was sent flying and crashed into a wall in the distance. This guy was so strong. When the experts from the surrounding grotto heavens saw that Lin Xian had forced his opponent to retreat with a single blow, they were shocked beyond words. They felt that the other party was only a holy venerable. Where did this genius come from? Lin Xian's expression was ugly. When he was approaching, he used the heavenly secret god eyes to check. These demonic shadows seemed to have no souls. No wonder they ignored his heavenly secret godchild. Without souls, the eye technique was useless. His kick had shattered the other party's claw, but no blood flowed out. Chapter 45:07. In front of them, the huge demonic shadow was injured. It was extremely angry and roared as it charged over. Its blood-red eyes caused a red light to appear on its body. Another grab. This attack was even more terrifying than before. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the man-ruler seal to send the other party flying. The broken body was torn into pieces and scattered all over the ground as if it had turned into sand. Go! Lin Xian waved the man-ruler seal and sent all the demonic shadows flying like a peerless god of war. On the toad side, 2 of them were also sent flying. The 2 of them directly broke out of the encirclement and soared into the sky. Good opportunity, let's go. Behind them, the experts of the grotto heavens saw this scene and rushed over. However, in the next moment, they were swallowed up by even more demonic shadows. There were even 2 people who were directly swallowed as food. Lin Xian and the others were about to leave and Xiao Bai jumped out and pointed at the pagoda. There seems to be something inside. Unfortunately, I can't get it out of my treasure bowl. Hearing this, the toad was also stunned. Then, it said, "Kid, the thing that Xiao Bai is talking about must be something good." Lin Xian was also surprised. He looked at the pagoda and directly went to the 7th floor. He smashed the window with a palm. After the 3 of them went in, they found a skeleton sitting there. There was no flesh on it, but there was a heart in his hand. It was the will of a sage king, and it seemed to be the will of a peak sage king. The toad exclaimed. This thing contained endless great Tao of heaven and earth. It was very helpful for one's comprehension of the great Tao. Lin Xian's eyes lit up instantly. He had obtained the will of a sage king before, and it was indeed helpful to the great Tao. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing here this time. Kid, hurry up and take it away. The toad couldn't wait. However, at this moment, there was the sound of wind breaking behind them. In an instant, the void behind them was torn apart and they were nearby. A powerful aura suppressed everything. The toad was stunned. Lin Xian also turned his head to look. Many figures descended from the sky and floated in the void. These people had lofty horns on their heads and wings of laws on their backs. When they flapped their wings, they brought about a strange storm of laws. Lin Xian from the flying feather grotto heaven frowned slightly. The law wings on his back were the symbol of the flying feather grotto heaven. The man in the lead had a pair of green laws behind his back. Great Tao interweaved on the wings, making them look exceptionally mysterious. Right now, he was standing in the air, his eyes able to see through everything. He looked at the heart of the Sage King with a smile on his face. Looks like my luck is pretty good. I've just arrived and I've already found a good treasure. In other words, it seemed that the Sage King's will was already his. What was the meaning of this? Are you blind? Can't you see that we're here first? The toad snorted coldly. These people were too arrogant. No, they were too arrogant. A toad dares to be arrogant in front of us. Get out of here. Someone stood out and shouted coldly. This person exuded the aura of a sage ruler. Fuck, do you believe that I won't slap you to death? The toad was also enraged. Lin Xian looked ahead. In front of him, there were a total of 12 figures. Among them, there were actually 5 to 6 figures who had reached the Sage King realm. Especially the one in the lead. His aura was extremely cold. He was an extremely terrifying existence in the early stage of the Sage King realm. Such a powerful team could indeed suppress everything. But to meet him, I'm afraid it's not enough. You're courting death. The Sage King who stood out roared angrily. The fiery red wings on his back directly slashed down. Like a flaming heavenly blade, it slashed towards the toad. The people from the other grotto heavens also laughed. A toad. It couldn't even withstand a single blow. The toad was furious. He didn't dodge and directly jumped up. Divine Toad Palm. He slapped out his claws and hit the flaming wings, causing the wings to tremble and dim. The flames on them were extinguished. The Sage King retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with shock. The people around him also couldn't believe it. Could it be that this toad was a Sage King realm demon beast? Damn it, the injured Sage King still wanted to attack. He was simply embarrassed to be injured by a toad. But at this moment, the leader, Qing Xi, waved his hand and stopped him. Junior brother, don't be rude. The injured Sage King could only grit his teeth and stop unwillingly. Qing Xi raised his head and looked at the toad, then looked at Lin Xian. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. I'm Qing Xi. These are all my fellow disciples. We're from the Flying Feather Grotto Heaven. Can the two of you give me face and leave this place? Give me the Sage King will. Although it was a discussion, his words were unquestionable. The people behind him also laughed. They had such a powerful lineup. 5 great Sage Kings. As long as the other party wasn't a fool, they definitely wouldn't attack again. You want us to give up with just one sentence? The toad was furious. Come. I'll teach you how to be a person. He wanted to attack. However, Lin Xian held him down and then smiled. Alright, I'll give it to you. What's going on? The toad was stunned. Are you sure? This wasn't Lin Xian's style. Lin Xian smiled mysteriously and then sent a voice transmission. Let's go. It's not safe here. Let them attack first. After the toad heard this, it immediately grinned. Good boy. It turns out that the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Interesting. The toad snorted coldly. Today, I'll give in to you. After saying that, he directly jumped out. Lin Xian also swayed and soared into the sky. However, Little White, who was on his shoulder, had already disappeared. Very good. The corners of Qing Xi's mouth curled up into a smile. The others also smiled. As expected, with such a powerful lineup, no one dared to fight against them. The group of people landed on the 7th floor of the pagoda. Looking at the Sage King will in front of them, their eyes emitted a fiery red light. At this moment, Qing Xi said, Junior brothers, can you give the Sage King will to me? As for your losses, I'll compensate you with other treasures. The pupils of the 2 Sage Kings constricted. A hint of unwillingness appeared in their eyes. This was also a very important thing to them. It was very helpful to their comprehension of the great Tao. However, the other three sage kings smiled and said, "Of course, we won't fight with senior brother Qing Ci." The other half-step sage kings naturally didn't dare to say anything. The two sage kings looked at each other and sighed. They didn't resist. Forget it. After thinking about it, the other party would probably use other treasures to make up for their losses after returning. "Thank you, junior brothers. I won't stand on ceremony." There was a satisfied smile on Qing Ci's face. He flew to the front and directly grabbed at the Sage King Will. He was about to grab it. However, at this moment, a blood-red light suddenly burst out from the two eye sockets of the white bones. Chapter 4508. Boom! The sky fell and the earth cracked. Qing Ci was pierced through. His heart had been crushed. He was severely injured. Damn it, there was a trap. Oh no, help senior brother. The others shouted angrily and attacked with their divine abilities. They attacked the black claw. The claw tore the void apart, and a demonic shadow walked out again. With a roar, he charged out. "Damn it, kill him for me." Qing Ci shouted angrily. The treasure was right in front of him, but he fell into a trap. He couldn't stand it. His broken heart healed, and his body emitted a green light. A wind blade flew out and swept through the 9 heavens. He attacked aggressively, and at the same time, he looked at the white bone that was sitting cross-legged. "This," he exclaimed. The Holy King's will in the white bone palm was swept away by a white light and disappeared. "Damn it! Where do you think you're going?" He attacked the void with a terrifying wind thorn. However, it hit nothing but the void. The white figure had long disappeared, and the Holy King's will disappeared at the same time. Damn it, was it snatched away? Damn it! Who was it? Qing Ci roared. He felt that he had been tricked. He wanted to find out who dared to plot against him. However, the black storm rushed over and turned into claws that covered the sky, enveloping him. He could only fight with all his strength. This time, the black demonic shadow was unusually terrifying. However, they had more people, and 5 holy kings were still able to deal with it. However, at this moment, another low roar was heard. Then, a palm stretched out from the white bone, and a second demonic shadow appeared. Oh no! Qing Ci and the others were in despair. They were afraid that they were in danger with 2 demonic shadows. To their surprise, the second demonic shadow only let out a roar, tore through the void, and disappeared. In the distant void, Lin Xian and the toad stood there and waited. Little White returned with the Holy King's will in his hand. Great! Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The toad also laughed heartily. Little guy, well done. Little White's big eyes narrowed into crescents. Boom! Suddenly, a palm shattered the void and enveloped him. Little White disappeared instantly, and when he reappeared, he was already on Lin Xian's shoulder. Who is it? Lin Xian roared. The toad also roared. Who was it? You dare to hit something that this great master has his eyes on. The two of them looked ahead. The void in front of him shattered, and a black demonic figure walked out again. Not good, they actually chased after him. Damn it, aren't these guys too strong? Lin Xian frowned. The toad was also astonished. Brat, be careful. This one seemed to be even more terrifying than the previous ones. Lin Xian took a deep breath and let Little White enter the Great Sage Pagoda first. His eyes shone with an extremely cold light. Streaks of golden light emerged from his body, as if he had transformed into the Sun War god. Roar! The demonic shadow in front didn't say anything. It opened its mouth and roared. A black storm flew towards Lin Xian. It turned into a crescent of light and descended from the sky. Fight! Lin Xian coldly harumphed. He formed a seal with his palm, the man-ruler seal, and slapped out. At the same time, in the surroundings, the 10 ultimate sword formation was activated. The sword lights that filled the sky poured down like a rainstorm. The toad also moved out. Divine Toad Palm. She was like a ghost, attacking from behind. With a clang, she slapped the other party's back, causing the other party to tremble and almost fall. Only some cracks appeared on the other party's body, but it didn't shatter. Fuck, so strong. The toad was surprised. This guy had the cultivation of a middle-stage Holy King. The toad had also reached the Holy King realm. An ordinary early-stage Holy King would definitely be torn apart under this palm. But the other party resisted. Lin Xian frowned. The man-ruler seal hit the other party's body and sent him flying. Cracks also appeared on the other party's body, but it didn't shatter. The demonic figure roared, his eyes bursting with a terrifying red light. At the same time, there was a black aura in his body that spread to the surroundings. The surrounding void kept shattering. How terrifying, this guy could actually increase his strength. The toad exclaimed. What the hell was this? Lin Xian said that it wasn't demonic energy. He had the Great Destruction Spear, so he could naturally feel the powerful demonic energy. This wasn't demonic energy, but it was a bit like his death law. What the other party used was a cold aura of death. Boom! A terrifying vibration sounded, and a wave of power swept out. Lin Xian used his divine body to block. The toad was blown away and cried out in pain. Fuck, it hurts. Kid, hurry up and kill him. Boss. Lin Xian's figure swayed, and the great Tao spread under his feet. Endless sword shadows appeared in his hand. Sword chi overflowed, and 10 types of laws swept through everything. It completely destroyed the terrifying aura of death. Boss. The demonic figure was forced back, roaring angrily. An extremely terrifying light burst out from his red eyes. He flew out and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian blocked. With a clang, the sword chi shook, and he was forced back. His entire arm was numb. Humph! Lin Xian was completely enraged. He slapped out with the man-ruler seal, and a terrifying power slammed into the other party's body. The demonic figure was sent flying. Before he could stand up, a huge mountain pressed down from the sky. The mountain-embracing seal had completely suppressed the other party. It was settled. The toad flew over. This kid was good, his strength was getting stronger and stronger. He could even suppress a mid-stage Holy King. Lin Xian furrowed his brows tightly. He realized that something was amiss. Although he held the mountain and suppressed the other party roared crazily. The power in his body surged as if he was going to carry the ancient mountain. With a roar, the ground split open and the void shattered. The ancient demonic mountain was actually carried by him. Too strong. The difference in strength between a mid-stage Holy King and an early-stage Holy King was more than 10 times. A mid-stage Holy King could kill an early-stage Holy King with a single punch. He had absolute strength to suppress. Only Lin Xian had the Great Dragon Sword soul, and the divine body could cross 2 realms to contend against him. But even so, he couldn't immediately suppress the other party. The demonic figure was truly incomparably terrifying. The toad's scalp also went numb. He thought of something and said with a pale face. Damn it, this couldn't be something from the Nine Nether Underworld, right? What do you know? Lin Xian asked. The toad dodged and said, let's deal with him first. I know. This guy's defense is very strong. I'll break through his defense later. Take the opportunity to attack his vital points. You must shatter his body. Lin Xian waved his hand. The dragon roared in his body and the dragon-shaped sword energy flew out. It could destroy everything. The demonic figure's body was strong, but cracks appeared under the dragon sword chi. There was no blood. But it was indeed shocking. The toad seized the opportunity and used it crazily. Divine Toad Fist. His body grew larger, turning into a huge monster. With a palm, he blasted the other party into pieces. Under the attacks of the two, they finally killed the other party. Whoosh! It was finally settled. The toad's body was like a mountain. It quickly shrank and finally became the size of a palm. It jumped up again. It really wasn't easy. If you didn't have the great dragon sword soul, it would be very troublesome to kill this thing. Chapter 4509. Lin Xian also frowned slightly. These things were too troublesome. Not only were there a lot of them, but they were also very powerful. If they were careless, they would probably die. His guess was right. Many geniuses and experts had already died in other places. But fortunately, although it was dangerous, their harvest was quite bountiful. Lin Xian summoned Little White. Little White held the Sage Monarch will and squinted its eyes into crescents. Lin Xian took it and slashed out with sword chi, splitting the Sage Monarch will into 3 pieces. He took one piece and gave the other 2 to the Toad and Little White. Lin Xian held the piece of Sage Monarch will and asked while absorbing it. Toad, what do you know? What is the Nine Nether Underworld that you mentioned? I think you should have heard of it when you were in the true spirit world. The human realm, the underworld, and the heavenly court. You have already seen the human realm. The underworld and the heavenly court are the other 2 mysterious existences. They are not weaker than the human realm. They had existed since ancient times. No one knew exactly where they were, and no one knew who was in their organization. They only know that they are spread throughout the universe. Lin Xian was shocked. He had naturally heard of it. When he was in the true spirit world, he had also encountered the underworld. Shou had killed it. He just didn't expect to encounter the underworld again. This buried Emperor star was really mysterious. The human realm was here, and the underworld had also appeared here. Moreover, it had appeared in the Qinkuan ancient city. What was the connection between the 2? The Toad knew more. He said that the human realm controlled the heavenly punishment. You should have experienced this. Lin Xian nodded. He was called the person abandoned by the heavens. Every time he broke through, there would be a blood-colored heavenly punishment that would destroy his soul. And these people had connections with the human realm. Therefore, the human realm controlled the heavenly punishment. What did the underworld control? The Toad took a deep breath and said. The underworld controlled reincarnation. Reincarnation. He had seen the power of reincarnation before. The reincarnation protector who controlled the passage and the ethereal peak's power of reincarnation seemed to be related to reincarnation. Lin Xian said, could it be that the underworld and the ethereal peak are related? I am not sure, but I don't think it's a big deal. Although the power of reincarnation was rare, it was not under the control of any single power. Most importantly, it was controlled by hell. As for the other powers of reincarnation, they might seem formidable in the eyes of ordinary people. However, in the eyes of top-tier, powerful beings, they were nothing more than some trump cards. Things were getting more and more interesting. The toad was like an old monster with a mysterious smile. Lin Xian asked, "What else are you hiding?" The toad said, "Do you know what the main force behind divine punishment and samsara is?" Lin Xian was stunned. Could it be the heavenly punishment sword and the samsara sword? The toad nodded. That's right. There must be the heaven's punishment sword behind the human world, and there should be the reincarnation sword behind the underworld. Of course, I'm not sure if it's the complete heaven punishment sword and samsara sword. After all, there had been a terrifying battle in the past. In that battle, even the great dragon sword was broken, and the great dragon sword's soul was scattered. The samsara sword and the heavenly punishment sword were probably also badly damaged. When Lin Xian heard this, he was shocked. Just what kind of battle could cause such a divine sword to be damaged? He only had the great dragon sword's soul now, and the great dragon sword was still missing. From what the toad said, it seemed to have been damaged. Could it be a battle between great emperors? He was asking, but the toad shook its head and said, "I'm not sure either. It was too long ago." Ah, look, he's going to disappear. At this moment, Little White pointed at the dismembered body in front of them and shouted. Lin Xian and the toad turned their heads to look. They saw that the demonic shadow that they had broken was slowly healing. Then, his body gradually grew bigger. There was a millstone-like thing that seemed to be absorbing him. "Kid, leave it behind. Maybe you can still find out the secret of reincarnation." The toad shouted. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul. Sword chi swept across, cutting through the void and destroying the power of reincarnation. He formed a sword domain and enveloped the demonic shadow. Since this thing was related to reincarnation, and Lin Xian's heavenly secret child prodigy had absorbed the power of reincarnation, he was going to try and see if he could control this demonic shadow. His heavenly secret divine eyes shone brightly, and terrifying runes appeared. The power of reincarnation sprinkled down and enveloped the demonic shadow. The demonic shadow struggled in pain. Its eyes were red as if blood was about to drip out. In the end, it was still controlled by Lin Xian. How magical! Lin Xian was surprised. If it were anyone else, they could use the heavenly secret divine eyes to attack. However, this demonic shadow seemed to have no blood or soul. Therefore, he could only use the power of reincarnation to control it. "Attack!" Lin Xian ordered. The demonic shadow roared and tore open the sky with its claws, shattering the void in front of it. "That's great." Lin Xian smiled. This was equivalent to a powerful battle servant. This time, many experts from the Grotto Heavens and the ancient race had come. Those from the Misty Peak would come too. They would meet sooner or later. Those people were experts and had brought many battle servants. If they really met them, it would be very troublesome. If they were surrounded, it would be even more dangerous. However, he was not worried now. With such a demonic shadow as a battle servant, would he be afraid of the experts from the other Grotto Heavens? Moreover, there were so many demonic shadows here. If he controlled a few more, they would be courting death if they competed with him in numbers. "Let's go." With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian put away the demonic shadow. They turned into streams of light and disappeared into the sky. On a deserted street, the 8 figures combined with each other to form a formation. Around them were layers upon layers of mountain shadows, as if they were going to suppress the world. Terrifying laws of power surged out, causing the surrounding void to shatter continuously. Inside the formation, there were two demonic shadows that roared at the sky. Their power was very strong. Every time they attacked, the formation would tremble. It was in danger of shattering at any time. Nearby, there was another figure dressed in white. She carried an ancient sword on her back and had a beautiful face. At this moment, she was staring at an empty hall in front of her. There was a sage king's will that was undulating. "Senior Sister Xueqi, hurry up. We can't hold on any longer." A woman among the people who formed the formation gritted her teeth and spoke. These people were from the Thousand Mountain Grotto heaven. The woman who carried an ancient sword on her back was a peerless beauty. She was Xueqi. She nodded and didn't hesitate. Her body flickered and turned into ice. She instantly entered the hall. She looked at the Sage King's will that was floating there and waved her hand. Roar! At this moment, another crazy roar echoed out. A demonic shadow tore apart the void and charged out. It had appeared suddenly and came next to Xueqi. Its sharp claws seemed capable of tearing apart everything. Xueqi snorted coldly. Terrifying black frost appeared on her body and sealed the world. The whole hall was sealed in ice, and the demonic shadow was also frozen. Xueqi grabbed the Sage King's will and retreated quickly. She had just left the hall when the demonic shadow broke free from the ice and charged out. Chapter 45:10. It was so terrifying. Xueqi was surprised. She already had a 9-yin body, and she was able to use her peerless ice, which ordinary Sage Kings couldn't use. However, this demonic shadow could easily do it. What kind of existence was it? Let's leave quickly. She waved her hand. These demonic shadows were too terrifying. When the 8 sages of the Thousand Mountain Wonderland heard her, they all retreated and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, more than 20 people descended from the sky and suppressed everything. Do you want to leave? Hand over the will you have obtained. Otherwise, none of you will be able to leave today. An ice-cold voice reverberated between heaven and earth. Xueqi stopped and furrowed her brows. The expressions of the Thousand Mountain Wonderland's people became even more unsightly. Zishao looked at the peerless fairy in front of him, as well as the Sage King's will, and a smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. He was one of the Xiling Wonderland's outstanding powerhouses, and he had brought more than 20 people with him. However, his luck wasn't too good, as he hadn't found any treasures. Instead, he had encountered many demonic shadows. They could only run away, and they didn't expect that they would finally find a treasure here. It was the Sage King's will. If he could get it, his power would rise again, and he could even shorten the time he needed to reach the middle stage of the Sage King realm. This was the best outcome for him. Fairy Xueqi, I advise you to be obedient and hand it over. Otherwise, you will suffer some physical pain. Do you think you can do it? Xueqi snorted coldly and thrust out her palm. Cold ice covered the sky, and everyone felt their hair stand on end. Zishao shouted coldly, and 10,000 bolts of thunder danced in the sky. They were like thunder dragons, and they swept across all directions. Thunder and ice collided, and a dazzling radiance erupted. The two of them were unexpectedly in a deadlock. How is this possible? The people of the Wonderland and the surroundings were stunned. Their senior brother had already reached the Sage King realm for 10 years, and he had far surpassed Zishao. However, they were now in a stalemate, and they couldn't believe it. What a terrifying ice! He was really a peerless genius. However, no matter how strong you are, so what? I have brought twice as many people as you. I also have more Sage Kings than you. Moreover, you will be attacked by the demonic shadows. If you continue fighting them, apart from you, all of you will surely die. Even you one won't be able to escape. Are you sure that you want to do this? Zi Zhao's voice was piercingly cold. The people of the Thousand Mountain Cave had ugly expressions on their faces. Xueqi snorted coldly and thought, how despicable. You're wrong. This is called strategy and tactics. Zi Zhao smiled and said, hand over the item obediently. Just the likes of you still want to obtain the Holy King's will. Ants! Get lost! A voice rang out. Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven, do you want to die? Zi Zhao roared. The people from Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven were also at a loss. They were not the ones who said that. They hurriedly explained. Xueqi also furrowed her brows. Who was it? Did another expert come? Who dares to meddle in the affairs of our Xiling paradise? Get over here and accept your death. Two figures stood out and shouted coldly. However, in the next moment, they were sent flying. The void split open as two streaks of piercingly cold sword light slammed into their bodies, splitting them apart. Blood flowed, dyeing the earth red. Damn it, the others all acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Who was this person? He was so powerful. Who dares to go against us? Zi Zhao also roared. At this moment, a figure in a red robe appeared. He stared coldly at the people below. Do you have a problem with me going against you? A bunch of trash, quickly kneel down before me and obediently become my puppet. Then, I can spare your lives. The toad jumped out and said coldly. Where did this toad come from? Go to hell. The people from Xiling Paradise were furious. These people were courting death. Another 3 streaks of sword light shot out. Oh my, you want to fight me? The toad sneered and sent several figures flying. Lin Xian said, since you want to fight, then stay here. A terrifying killing intent appeared on his body. You? Zi Zhao sneered. You're not even a holy king. Go to hell. A cold light flashed in his eyes. 10,000 streaks of thunder rushed out. They were majestic and could pierce through heaven and earth. In an instant, they engulfed Lin Xian. Ha 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 ha. The people from Xiling Paradise laughed. You can't even block one of our senior brother's attacks. How dare you be so arrogant? I can't be bothered to dodge such weak thunder. From the sea of lightning, a figure walked out. His robes fluttered, but he was unharmed. How could it be? The surrounding people were stunned. Was this guy not injured? That was purple thunder. It was a peerless thunder-type ability. Even holy kings of the same level couldn't block it. They couldn't even use their strength after being hit. However, this guy was actually fine. What did he use to block the purple thunder? Zi Zhao's face was cold. Kid, it seems that you have a treasure on you. In that case, I'll kill you and take your treasure. An even more terrifying killing intent bloomed in his eyes. The law of thunder swept out. Purple lightning condensed into a long spear. Purple lightning danced wildly. Thunder filled the sky, turning into thunder dragons that danced wildly. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. At this moment, everyone retreated. Because the power of this attack was extremely strong. Lin Xian stood there with a calm expression. Oh. The strongest attack. But it seemed to be pitifully weak. He stretched out his palm and attacked in front of him. Boom! Like a god exploding, thousands of divine lights flew out. After a shocking collision, the purple spear was broken in half. Zi Xiao retreated. Endless cracks appeared on his body. Then, with a crack, he was split in half. The lower half of his body stood there, but the upper half fell from the sky. Everyone was shocked. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven were stunned. The other party had killed their senior brother with one punch. The people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven were even more shocked. Who was this? He was too strong. Ah! Zi Xiao was injured. Half of his body wanted to heal, but it was trampled into pieces by the toad. His heart and soul were destroyed. Noisy ants. The toad sneered. Dead. The people of Xiling Grotto Heaven went crazy. They were terrified. Damn it, kill them and avenge senior brother. More than 20 people burst out together. 10 of them were geniuses of the Grotto Heaven, and the other dozen were battle servants. These battle servants didn't even care about their lives and directly rushed over. Lin Xian snorted. He didn't make a move. A demonic shadow appeared in front of him. The demonic shadow's eyes were red. With a roar, its claws tore open the sky. This was a mid-stage Saint Venerable. Under one attack, more than 20 figures were all turned into pieces. None of them survived. This. Behind him, the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven were so scared that they almost knelt there. What kind of scene was this? So many saints could not even block a single attack from him. This demonic shadow was definitely at the middle stage of the Saint King realm. Killing all of them in an instant was probably just a matter of a slap. Also, who was this person? Why could he control the demonic shadow? Could it be that he was also a mysterious existence here? These people's scalps went numb. They didn't dare to imagine. Chapter 45:11. It had been dealt with. The toad jumped over and went to search the storage ring. Lin Xian turned his head around and looked at the Thousand Mountain Paradise's members. The Thousand Mountain Paradise's members felt great pressure from his gaze, and they felt like their bodies were bending. It seemed like they were about to kneel down and worship their king. A man among them gritted his teeth and spoke. We are the Thousand Mountain Paradise's members, and we are grateful for your help. May I know your name? Lin Xian had changed his appearance, and none of them recognized him. Xue Qi curled the corners of her mouth into a smile. She was also shocked a while ago, and she didn't know who could be so terrifying. When he used his power, she sensed that her nine-yin body had been stimulated, and it wanted to erupt with boundless ice. There was only one person who could cause such a scene to her, and it was the nine-yang divine body. He was her husband, so he wouldn't harm her. However, Xue Qi didn't know why he had changed his appearance and why he wasn't with her. However, she trusted Lin Xian unconditionally. Lin Xian looked coldly at the Thousand Mountain Paradise's members, then looked at Xue Qi. He transmitted his voice to her. Be careful, as I will act alone for now. If you run into any danger, use the formation to inform me. Xue Qi transmitted her voice back to him. Lin Xian turned around and soared into the sky with the toad. Did he finally leave? When Lin Xian had disappeared, the Thousand Mountain Paradise's members heaved a sigh of relief, and they quickly left. The toad flew outside with the Great Sage Pagoda. Apart from Lin Xian, there were 3 other demonic shadows in the Great Sage Pagoda. One of them was the one he had captured before. As for the other 2, he had just taken them from Xue Qi's side. After the 2 of them came here, they kept roaring. However, they were quickly suppressed by Lin Xian's battle servants. Lin Xian used his reincarnation power to control the 2 of them. Now, he had 3 demonic shadow battle servants by his side. Great, their power increased again, and he didn't need to do anything now. Once the demonic shadow appeared, it could sweep away everything. Let's go and find more treasures. Lin Xian walked out of the Great Sage Pagoda and increased their speed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The melodious sound of a zither came from afar, shaking the 9 heavens. This caught Lin Xian's attention. The toad also spoke. Who was it? How could he be in the mood to play the zither here? The two of them landed and looked down. That was also a new region. Below it was a mansion that had existed for a long time. It carried a wave of dust. The sound of the zither came from below. When Lin Xian was about to land, he discovered that there were many people in the courtyard. They were most likely from the other grotto heavens and primeval races. These people had outstanding talents, and when they saw Lin Xian and Lin Xian descend, they all turned their heads. Their eyes were cold and filled with warning. Then, they turned their heads. Damn, what's going on? Toad cried out in alarm. The surrounding people glared at him. One of them whispered, "Lower your voice, there are people from the misty peak inside. I'm from the boundless grotto heaven. My name is Meng Hao. How should I address you?" He looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "My name is Sword Fanatic. Brother Meng Hao, what's going on here? Someone wants to make a move on the Luo family." Meng Hao said. The Luo family. Lin Xian was stunned. He had just come out of the Luo family. Who was it? Could it be someone from the Misty Peak? That's right, they wanted to make a move on Luo Fifan. This Luo Fifan was really unlucky. He was originally very talented, but he offended someone and was removed from the position of young clan leader. Now, he didn't have many battle servants with him, and it seemed that he had some treasures on him. This time, he was really in trouble. Luo Fifan. Lin Xian was surprised. He knew this person because he was the one who had removed him from the position of young clan leader. This guy was courting death again. Did he challenge someone? It seemed that he was really hopeless. He shook his head. Meng Hao said, "You guessed wrong this time." This time, it was not Luo Fifan who challenged him. It was someone else who specifically challenged him. Luo Fifan's face was extremely ugly. Since he was removed from the position of young clan leader, his life had been very difficult. Although he would not be bullied, no one would revere him as much as they did before. He had very few battle servants and people that he could use. This time, he came personally to look for some opportunities. If he could break through, he might have a chance to redeem himself. However, he did not expect that he would be targeted. The people who targeted him were from the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. Logically speaking, with his strength, he should be able to resist them. However, he did not expect that the Misty Peak was behind the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. Bai Hao looked at Luo Fifan and said with a smile, "What do you think? Kid, hand over the things obediently, and I'll let you live today. Otherwise, my brother will kill you, even if you're from the Luo family. Moreover, you're not the young clan leader anymore. If we want to kill you, it's no different from killing an ant." Damn it. If he was the young clan leader, these people would not dare to be so presumptuous in Qinkuan ancient city. "You want my things? Ask your brother to come personally." Luo Fifan gritted his teeth. There was an old man next to him who also looked ugly. At this moment, his body was stained with blood. One of his arms was broken and was recovering. He was a middle-stage king sage and had watched Luo Fifan grow up. Although Luo Fifan had lost his identity, he was still by his side. Logically speaking, with such an expert protecting him, he would not be afraid even if he faced the geniuses of the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. However, the woman who was playing the guqin at the side was very terrifying. She was an expert from the Misty Peak. Coupled with the guqin in her hand, she was an extremely powerful sage King Wu. Therefore, he was injured. A person from the Misty Peak was already so terrifying. If there was another one, it would be even more dangerous. Oh, you want me to come personally? You? Let me see if you're qualified. A loud laughter was heard. A figure walked out from the depths of the mansion. This person was wearing a white robe and had a strong aura. He crossed 1,000 miles in one step and came to the crowd in front of the mansion. His cold eyes swept across the surroundings like lightning. The surrounding onlookers exclaimed when they saw this figure. Bai Tsangchong, it's him. He was ranked 20th on the Misty list. The Misty list was a list set by the Misty Peak. Those who could be ranked in the top 100 of the Misty list were extremely terrifying experts. Any one of these people could defeat the young geniuses of the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. Ranked 20th was an extremely terrifying supreme existence in the Misty Peak. This list only included people under 3,000 years old. Bai Tsangchong could be said to be young and promising. Damn it. Luo Fifin's face was ugly. Even if he was the young clan leader, he might not be able to resist. It seemed that this time, he was really screwed. He said, although I don't have the identity of the young clan leader now, the things belong to the Luo clan. If he took them away, the Luo clan would not let it go. Are you threatening me? Bai Tsangchong sneered. Well, I'll give you a chance. If you can block my finger. I don't want the things and let you go. What if you can't block it? Chapter 45:12. One finger. The surrounding people exclaimed. Bai Tsangchong was powerful, but he was only an early-stage Saint King, the same realm as Luo Fifin. Was he going to defeat Luo Fifin with one finger? As expected of the genius of Misty Peak, he was confident enough. Why wouldn't he dare? Luo Fifin snorted. Although Bai Tsangchong was powerful, he couldn't even block one finger. He didn't think so. Fine, you said so. Luo Fifin gritted his teeth. He had to block Bai Tsangchong's attack even if he had to risk his life. Therefore, he said, go ahead. Bai Tsangchong laughed proudly. You won't have a chance if I attack. So, I advise you to use your strongest technique. Luo Fifin didn't say anything. He took a deep breath and his eyes shone with a sharp light. In the next moment, the law on his body burned rapidly. A shocking force swept out. He moved his fists, which could shatter heaven and earth. This guy was going to risk his life. Many people exclaimed when they saw this scene. That was for sure. He was a Saint King, and he could leave as long as he blocked Bai Tsangchong's finger. There was no reason for him not to risk his life. He punched out with both fists, which drew a mysterious trajectory in the sky. A terrifying aura spread in all directions. That was the power of the law burning. Hee, you can't even withstand a single blow. Even if you risk your life, you are still no match for me. Bai Tsangchong looked at the scene with a disdainful smile. Firmament divine finger. Heaven and earth were shattered by Bai Tsangchong's finger. Luo Fifin's fists couldn't block it at all and were shattered into pieces. His hands were broken and turned into a bloody mist. His body also retreated. He was like a kite with a broken string, falling far away. The surrounding people were stunned and speechless. Luo Fifin's punch was indeed powerful. It was a burning law fist, which made many people's scalps tingle. However, such a terrifying attack couldn't even block a finger. It was shattered and he was severely injured. Was the gap between them really that big? It wasn't the gap between cultivation, but the gap between superpowers and strength. People looked up to the people of Misty Peak. Young master. The old man of the Luo family rushed over with a nervous face. The people of White Cloud Cave sneered. If they knew this would happen, they wouldn't have fought with Luo Fifin. Wouldn't it be better if they just handed the things over? I lost. I lost. Luo Fifin was helped up by the old man. While vomiting blood, he shook his head crazily. He really didn't expect that he couldn't even block a single move. All right, kid, now kneel on the ground obediently and hand over the item. Bai Tsangchong was like a god looking down on everything. Just when everyone thought that Luo Fifin was finished, a voice sounded. So arrogant. I've never seen anyone more arrogant than me. When these words came out, the eyelids of the surrounding people twitched wildly. Damn, who is this? To challenge Bai Tsangchong at this time, was he tired of living? The surrounding people all turned their heads and looked over. In the next moment, they were even more stunned. It turned out that the one who spoke was an incomparably arrogant toad. Beside him stood a man in a red robe with a cold expression. His face was unfamiliar. They weren't geniuses or experts that they knew. Who dares to challenge us? Do you want to die? The expert from White Cloud Cave shouted coldly. Countless gazes were fixed on them. The surrounding void continued to shatter. The surrounding people were so scared that their scalps went numb. They didn't dare to open their mouths. The toad snorted coldly. I thought you could destroy his soul with a single finger. Now, you've only defeated him. What's there to be arrogant about? It seems that your strength isn't that great. You're not even as strong as the kid beside me. The toad's voice once again shocked everyone. Destroy his soul with a single finger. Do you think it's so easy to kill an expert of the same level? And the kid beside you, is he very famous? He had a strange look on his face. Could he compete with Bai Tsangchong? Lin Xian glanced at the toad and sighed. This guy really didn't mind watching a show. Was he going to drag him down just like that? However, he wasn't afraid. Although Bai Tsangchong was powerful, he wasn't his opponent. During this period of time, he had already absorbed the Sage King's will that he had obtained, and his strength had increased again. He was already very close to becoming a half-step Sage King. Therefore, he didn't take Bai Tsangchong seriously. He was more curious about Luo Fifin. What exactly did he have that could cause such a battle? Suddenly, he was stunned. He carefully sensed Luo Fifin's aura and found that the bronze key in his hand had lit up again. Could it be that there was some connection? The bronze key could cause a shocking change in Chenkuan Ancient City. And Luo Fifin was originally from Chenkuan Ancient City. Perhaps he really had some treasure in his hand. Thinking of this, he made up his mind. No matter what, he had to make a move today to at least get the treasure in Luo Fifin's body. The surrounding people didn't know what Lin Xian was thinking. After the toad's voice fell, they all looked at Lin Xian and sized him up curiously. Who is this kid? Is he very powerful? Who knows? He's so unfamiliar. I think he's just a fool who doesn't know what's important. Luo Fifin also turned his head and looked over. The next moment, his pupils shrank, and a monstrous anger and killing intent appeared in his eyes. It's this kid. He would never forget that it was the other party who stripped him of his identity with a single sentence. Now, he had appeared again. If it wasn't for the other party, how could he have encountered such a situation? He couldn't wait to fight with the other party. But he didn't dare. The other party was an existence that even his father had to treat with respect. Feeling the killing intent in the other party's eyes, Lin Xian also turned his head and looked over, revealing a faint smile. Oh, what's wrong? You want to kill me? Do you want to make a move on me? Luo Fifan gritted his teeth and quickly lowered his head. He didn't dare. He was now seriously injured. If he offended the other party might dare to kill him. Moreover, he seemed to have made some kind of decision and raised his head. Master, I know you're powerful. If you can save my life, I'll give you the treasure in my hand. I swear that this treasure will never let you down. Oh, really? Since you're willing to give me the treasure, then I can save your life. Lin Xian said. Thank you, Master. Luo Fifan seemed to have found hope. The surrounding people were in an uproar. They were even more curious. Who was this red-robed man? He dared to say such words. Could it be that he also had a great background? The cultivator from White Cloud Cave Heaven sneered. Brat, you dare to talk big in front of me? I'm afraid you're tired of living. Come here now, or I'll let you go to hell. Toad, slap him. I can't wait any longer. The toad directly turned into a bolt of lightning and jumped out. How dare an ant fight with me? The cultivator from the White Cloud Grotto sneered and slapped out with his palm. A blade light flashed in the sky. Boom. Crack. The blade slashed down, shattering the sky and the earth, shattering the void. However, the attack missed. There was no sign of the toad at all. Chapter 45:13. Ah! A crazy roar rang out, stunning the surrounding people. How could a toad be so powerful? Who were these two people? The toad flew back and sneered. You can't even withstand a single blow from me. Cousin, help me kill him. The man's face recovered and he looked at Bai Zhangqiong. His face was filled with anxiety and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Bai Zhangqiong walked out with a cold face. How dare you snatch what I want? Very well, it has been a long time since someone dared to challenge me. Today, I will personally send the two of you to hell. His eyes flickered with cold killing intent. He was like the divine king of the 9 heavens, looking down. The toad also frowned. It had to be said that this guy was indeed strong and had the right to be arrogant. Lin Xian looked at the other party. You are a genius of Misty Peak, right? It's not easy for you to cultivate to your level. It would be a pity if you died. How about this, seeing that the heavens are virtuous, I'll give you a chance. He stretched out a finger and said, one move. If you can block my move, I will not interfere in this matter and Luo Fifan will be at your disposal. If you can't block it, then kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake. I will spare your life. The surrounding people went crazy. Why was this scene so familiar? This was what Bai Zhangqiong said to Luo Fifan. However, they did not expect that the tables would turn. In the blink of an eye, someone said such words to Bai Zhangqiong. However, did this guy have the strength to say such words? Bai Zhangqiong was a Sage King expert. He was ranked 20th in Misty Peak. He was extremely powerful. He could defeat an expert of the same level with just a finger. Perhaps only the scarier geniuses of Misty Peak could defeat such a person. The others had no hope at all. I, Bai Zhangqiong, have lived for 2,300 years. This is the first time someone dared to say such words to me. Kid, you have completely angered me. I want to see how you can defeat me with a single palm. Lin Xian looked calm and said indifferently. You should make the first move. Oh right, use all your strength. It would be best if you could burn your law. Otherwise, you won't have any chance. You are courting death. The people of White Cloud Grotto roared madly. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. However, Bai Zhangqiong waved his hand and stopped them. He stared at Lin Xian, his eyes shining brightly. You are very arrogant. I have never seen such an arrogant person. That's why I decided not to kill you. After I suppress you, I'll make you my battle servant. I want to torture you every day. I want you to know the consequences of offending me. After saying that, he stretched out another finger. It was the firmament divine finger. Did he need to use all his strength to deal with a stranger? What a joke. He could sweep away everything with a single finger. Luo Fifan would be defeated, and so would Zhang Xian. A single finger moved the universe, causing the winds and clouds to change. This attack seemed to be even more terrifying than the one that had defeated Luo Fifan. This kid was probably going to die for sure. He was too arrogant and didn't know who Bai Zhangqiong was. Well, it wouldn't be a pity for such an arrogant person to die. The surrounding people sneered. Luo Fifan was also extremely nervous. His life was in the hands of Lin Xian. If Lin Xian was defeated, Bai Zhangqiong would definitely not let him go. His fate would be worse than death. Therefore, he prayed that even if Lin Xian couldn't defeat him in one move, it would be enough if Lin Xian could defeat him in one move or even take him away. He didn't expect Lin Xian to defeat Bai Zhangqiong because he also thought that it was impossible. Facing the firmament divine finger, Lin Xian also stretched out a finger and pointed it out. With his finger, the boundless sword light seemed to have turned into a divine sword, piercing through the heavens and earth. Did this guy also want to defeat someone with a single finger? What a joke. He was too arrogant. Countless people went crazy. They had never seen such a reckless person. However, when this finger was pointed out, everyone was stunned. There was very little sword chi on the fingertip, but it rushed to the 9 heavens and shone with cold light. A sword came from the west, flying immortal. Everyone's body seemed to have been destroyed by this sword light. After that sword, Lin Xian retracted his finger. With a crack, heaven and earth split apart, and a big crack appeared. Everyone was shocked. The whole space was split open. What about Bai Zhangqiong? They turned their heads and saw Bai Zhangqiong's firmament divine finger fixed in the void. A black dot appeared on that side, and then it quickly split open. Puff! Blood burst out, and the firmament divine finger was destroyed. Not only that, but one of Bai Zhangqiong's arms also split open. Everyone could see that his bones were broken. You! Bai Zhangqiong covered his arm and kept retreating. His eyes were wide open, and he couldn't believe it. What happened just now? When he was full of confidence, a sword enveloped him, and then he felt as if his whole arm was crippled. He couldn't use his strength anymore. Then, there was endless pain and fear. His mind was blank, and he could only hear countless exclamations around him. Was he defeated? How was that possible? Those people from the White Cloud Cave were so scared that their bodies trembled and they almost knelt on the ground. Their god, Bai Zhangqiong, couldn't even block a single finger of his opponent. Was the gap between them really so big? He won. Luo Fifan also couldn't believe it. He no longer dared to harbor any killing intent towards Lin Xian. He looked at Lin Xian as if he was an ant facing a god. Bai Zhangqiong defeated him with one move, but Lin Xian defeated Bai Zhangqiong with one move. His opponent's strength was more terrifying than he had imagined. It was no wonder that his father was so respectful. It seemed that the gap between him and his father was really too big. Not only was there a gap in cultivation, but even his father's eyesight was so bad. You've lost. Kneel down and kowtow. Lin Xian said lightly. His voice brought everyone back to reality. Then, countless exclamations rang out. Wow, what did I just see? This kid really did it. Who exactly was he? Bai Tsungchung felt as if he had been struck by lightning. You want me to kneel down and kowtow? Are you kidding me? Damn kid, who are you? The wounds on his body were shrouded by the law and quickly healed. You don't deserve to know who I am. You just need to fulfill your promise. I'll take him away, and you'll kowtow. You want me to kowtow? Dream on. I was careless just now. Now, I'll tear you to pieces. He shouted angrily and charged over. His whole body was like a wisp of smoke, and he instantly appeared behind Lin Xian. He must personally tear Lin Xian into pieces. Lin Xian sighed. It seemed that he didn't know what was good for him. His body swayed, and he turned into an afterimage, dodging the sneak attack from behind. Then, he threw out a punch. With a crack, his opponent's palm shattered into a bloody mist. Damn it, why is his strength so strong? Bai Tsungchung retreated again. He realized that it was a mistake to fight in close combat with Lin Xian. Chapter 45-14. After Lin Xian attacked for the first time, he took a step forward and raised his knee. Like a heavenly hammer, he slammed it on the other party's body. With a bang, the other party lost all feeling in his legs. He lowered his head and found that his legs had turned into a bloody mist. In the next moment, he saw a golden palm grabbing his head and pressing it to the ground. With a bang. He was hit so hard that his head was bleeding, and the ground kept shaking. This was the Antiquity City. It didn't shatter, but his head was smashed. Not only that, the power spread throughout his body, making him unable to resist at all. Then, a foot stepped on his head. Since you don't know how to kneel, I'll teach you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The surrounding people were stunned. The battle between the two was too fast. It was over in the blink of an eye. So when they reacted, they saw Bai Tsungchung lying on the ground like a dog with his head stepped on. Lin Xian was still calm, as if he had done something insignificant. Impossible, I'm not dreaming, am I? The people of White Cloud Grotto Heaven slapped their faces. They wanted to wake themselves up. However, they found that it was indeed the case. The other spectators swallowed their saliva. This was really a ruthless person. He actually dared to attack like this. The other party's strength was too strong. He was simply beating up Bai Tsungchung. Since when did such a powerhouse appear? Why didn't they know it all? Could it be that he came from another region? Bai Tsungchung was stunned, but in the next moment, he came back to his senses. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His lungs were about to explode. Damn it, he had lived for more than 2,000 years and had never been suppressed like today. He couldn't stand it. But that foot was like a coiling dragon. He couldn't resist at all. He could only roar. Elder Lu, kill him. Kill him for me. Elder Lu, who was the woman who played the zither earlier, shouted. The pupils of the old man beside Luo Fan shrank. Not good, he was injured by Elder Lu earlier. This Elder Lu was a mid-stage Saint Venerable. Moreover, the saint artifact in his hand was even more terrifying. Even if this young man was strong enough to defeat Bai Tsungchung, he had no chance of winning against Elder Lu. The difference in cultivation between Saint Kings was just that terrifying. No matter how powerful one was, it would be difficult to bridge the gap. Lu Qin frowned when she saw this. She was indeed an elder, and a very young one at that. She was only 3,000 years old. She was only a few hundred years older than Bai Tsangqiong, but her cultivation was a realm higher than his. The reason why she had come this time around was because Bai Tsangqiong had spent a large sum of money to invite her. She had always thought that Bai Tsangqiong was very powerful. As long as she didn't encounter any of those older generation figures, she wouldn't have to make a move. There were even fewer people among the younger generation who could defeat him. There were only a dozen or so people who were ranked higher than him in the ethereal peak. Moreover, he might not even encounter it. But now, an unfamiliar youth had jumped out and beaten Bai Tsangqiong to such a state. This truly surprised her. She hadn't even reacted to it before. At this moment, her expression darkened and she said in a deep voice, "Young man, you've gone too far. Remove your feet and kneel to receive your punishment. The ethereal peak is not something you can challenge." Punishment? Lin Xian laughed as well. Were the people of the ethereal peak all so arrogant? Did they really think that they were gods? Seems like you guys are too superior. Today, I'll teach you guys a lesson. You can't go against the ethereal peak. Lu Qin shook her head. The ethereal peak had been standing here for tens of thousands of years, and no one could change that. Was the six grotto heavens strong? Even if they joined forces, they still weren't a match for the ethereal peak. What could a young man do? Let go of him. This is my last warning. Are you dreaming? Lin Xian snorted coldly. I've said it before. Even if he lost the previous competition, I wouldn't take his life. But after he lost, he wanted to kill me. Then, he can't blame me. Did he think that no one would dare to touch him just because he was a genius of the ethereal peak? What a pity. Lin Xian didn't say anything else. He stomped his feet and shattered the other party's body. His palm turned into a dragon-shaped sword qi and pierced through the other party's soul. Boom! Bai Tsangqiong didn't even have time to scream before his soul was destroyed. How dare you kill him? Lu Qin stood up abruptly with shock in her eyes. Dead? How was she going to explain to the ethereal peak when she returned? One had to know that this was a genius ranked 20th. His future achievements wouldn't be any weaker than hers. He might even surpass her. How could he die outside just like that? He would be punished when he returned. Moreover, the other party was from the Bai family. The Bai family was extremely powerful in the White Cloud Grotto Heaven. He was simply a genius. Who would dare to kill such a person? But now, there was someone who didn't know what was good for him and really killed him. The surrounding people were also going crazy. It was as if they could already foresee that a bloody storm was about to blow over. Go! These people retreated frantically. Lu Qin stood up and said coldly. Since he's dead, you'll be buried with him. A cold light flashed in her eyes. With a flick of her hand, a guqin appeared in front of her. It was the Fengming guqin. The sound of the guqin was bleak, like the cry of a phoenix, soaring through the 9 heavens. Qi, at this moment, played with all his strength. The surrounding people tried their best to resist, and they felt that their ears were about to burst. Lin Xian struck out endless sword qi, which turned into a world of sword Dao. But in an instant, it was also shattered. Middle stage Saint King was indeed powerful. He opened up his divine body to resist. Those sounds fell on his divine body, making the sky shake. Die! He kept retreating. What's wrong with this guy's physique? He's still alive. Although Lin Xian was retreating, it was like a bolt from the blue in the eyes of the crowd. Even Bai Tsangqiong would be turned into ashes in an instant when facing such an attack. But the other party was only pushed back. What kind of physique was this? The old man from the Luo family was originally in despair, but when he saw this scene, hope was restored in his eyes. With this young man's physique and his help, the two of them might have a chance to escape if they joined forces. So he took a deep breath and prepared to join forces with Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a flick of his finger, a black figure appeared in front of him. Roar! The roar resounded in all directions, blocking the sound of the guqin. He actually blocked it. The old man from the Luo family was stunned. The surrounding people were also stunned. Some of the experts' pupils constricted. The demonic shadow. Not good, retreat. The demonic shadow is here. They had all been attacked by the demonic shadow before, so when they saw this scene, they were all traumatized and retreated. This kid was really unlucky. Not only was he being chased by Elder Lu Qin, but there was also such a terrifying demonic shadow. He probably couldn't escape death. In the eyes of the crowd, Lin Xian was dead for sure. The old man from the Luo family's expression changed drastically. He couldn't imagine how the situation would change with the arrival of such a terrifying demonic shadow. But soon, everyone was stunned. They realized that the demonic shadow didn't attack. Instead, it stood beside Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. Why? You've lived for 3,000 years and have an advantage in cultivation, so you can beat me? You want to kill me? Why don't you try? Go, kill him. Lin Xian ordered. The demonic shadow in front of him roared and turned into a black lightning bolt, charging over. It waved its claws, destroying mountains and rivers. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.